You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for another season of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Yes, it is now officially season 5. It has been a year. We're at the halfway mark of 2023. It feels like the year is just going, but it's going in a great direction. I mean, we kind of hit it off really, really high at the beginning of the year, and we're in that middle spot. And, there's a new season, season 5. Like, what? This podcast has been going on for 5 seasons? It's lasted longer than many good TV shows. I've been watching the summer transition. We're getting close to the Emmy nominations, which are going to be coming out later this week. Playtime is, I guess, over. It's time to see who's going to be the hottest new show. A lot of shows have ended. A lot of shows should actually end, but it's a lot going on. But here we are, season 5 over here, Ernestly Speaking. It's been quite the break. It seems like every time I take a break, that's when everybody want to show their ass, right? The Supreme Court, a lot of people, Kiki's now ex-boyfriend. So much has happened since, I took a break, and I guess you all kind of caught up on shows because the ratings, I mean, my goodness, the listens on this podcast has been ridiculously high, especially given I haven't put out any new content. So I feel like some of you all who are not the core, like 200, that just, come in the morning, probably was like, maybe I need to catch up on this show, or someone have, word of mouth. A lot of you all have been hitting me up. New followers, new apps. It just feels like we took this super long ass break, but really it's only been like, 2 weeks. But so much can happen, I guess, when you're having fun or you're cutting up. So welcome back. Welcome back. We'll be riding like this till the end of the year. 2023. My goodness, it's just going. I'll be 32 in October. The summer is not over. Beyonce is this week. My goodness, I've been taking it in, prepping with the Lip Brothers. We've been, going back and forth on outfits. I thought I knew what I was going to wear. And let me be very clear. I'm not buying anything else. I've bought pieces, but now I think I'm going to go, wear mesh with nothing under the mesh. Don't, before you start going, you're a husband, because I'm not a father, but you're a husband. We don't do that over here. we don't do that over here. There's no Darius Dalton energy, in this household. But so much. So, I guess I get into it because it's a lot. So where do I start? I'll start with 4th of Jamarcus. The Lip Brothers, we got together for one of our very own, Jamarcus. He turned 31, and we celebrated his birthday at Chima, which is a place he loves, and I love it too. But, he really loves Chima. I think it's because it's just a very cozy, comfortable spot that just serves the food. I mean, out of the Brazilian steakhouses, it is, in our opinion, the best one. I think the salad bar is what steals it. I mean, the steak is just incredible, all the meats, but they have different meats compared to Fogo de Chao. I don't know. When I first came to town, which was like 13 years ago at this point, over a decade, I always thought that Fogo was top tier, but I think over the years I've realized now that Chima is here, that Chima is right there on JFK, I feel like Chima's more seasoned. I feel like the vibe there is got this nice mid level where it's like, you're there. It's very friendly, family oriented. Everyone's there. It's diverse. Like the vibe is very diverse. Everybody's chill. Um, but the food, I think the salad bar is just more superior, to be honest. And I also think the meat is more seasoned at Chima. Fogo is gives a more upscale vibe, but the food isn't as memorable. That's what I'll say. I think like the last time with the Fogo, last time with the Fogo, it was we went for my graduation from Penn 2014. Ooh, that was 9 years ago because I don't think I went back. And I remember I went a little bit more in my college years because, like, I feel like everybody who did restaurant week in my circle, Fogo was a part of restaurant week. And I don't think Chima was ever in the conversation. And then I don't know how I got the Chima. I think a friend or someone I knew threw something there. And then I loved it. And then I had my birthday. I think I had my 27th birthday there or 28th. I think it was 28th. 27 was at Maggiano's. And I had these like private parties. Like I used to have these dinner parties. Yeah, I was like 28. So it's been for the last 5 years, I think I've been very loyal, or 4 years. Um, I think I've been very loyal to Gmail. I think I went in 2018, 27. It was my 27th birthday. Oh, I got to keep with my birthdays. It was my 27th. Yes, it was my 27th birthday. Because that was in 2018. Yes, it was 2018. So it's been about 5 years of Chima. And since I've had Chima, I've never gone back to Fogo. Definitely haven't gone back to Fogo. Like someone would have to like take me out there and just say, "Oh, we're gonna go." But I'm like, why would we go if there's Chima? I don't know. I prefer Chima. He loves Chima. It was fabulous. And then we celebrated on the actual 4th of July. Um, my so over that weekend, my now newly engaged friends, Amanda and Joe, which many of you all have know the news. So I guess I had a little thing in my mind how I was gonna, but I guess we'll just put it all together. So they moved in to the building I currently live in. So now we're neighbors. We live, oh, well, I'm not telling y'all where we live, but we live somewhere really, really nice. So you all know we moved a year ago, Mr. Johnson and I, but we live on the same floor with, Miss, Dr. Parks and Mr. Hamilton. They moved in last week, and it feels like so like full circle because we met me and Amanda in college, my freshman year 13 years ago. We met on the same floor. She was living at the Boys College House. She was a sophomore because she graduated in 2013. So this year was her 10-year anniversary. And yeah, we were on the 3rd floor. Now we're on the 2nd floor. And it's been cool. It's been dope. What it feels like to have your bestie living on the floor with you. And then, my other bestie, of course, Jamarcus lives right across the street. Like everybody kind of lives near everybody now, which is like perfect for so many reasons, like coordinating arrivals and pickups. And if we go out together, we can all go together, literally in the same car and, get dropped off in the same, spot. Like that's just everything. So I threw like a 4th of July, well, really 4th of Jamarcus part 2, like barbecue / welcome neighbors kind of thing. It was a good barbecue. It was catered by Bart's Bagels, which you're going to be like, huh? But you're going to be like, huh? So Bart's Bagels is in like University City, West Philly. I've never had their bagels, but I've heard about their bagels. Now I've tried them and now I'm obsessed. So they do this special thing, like on certain holidays, they do some really nice catering for like small groups and things of that nature. And they do barbecue for 4th of July. at the very last minute, I was kind of like, oh, I do want to do something. And you know how I do this all the time. I'm like, oh, am I going to do something? My mind, I'm always like, yeah, bitch, you're going to do something. So like, I was like, okay, this was like really quick. They hooked us up. They hooked me up with these ribs and things because I think I missed the order date like one day later. And I'm normally that person that's on it, but they were just so nice enough to just was able to get the order in. Those ribs were the bomb. I'm really, this summer, I have to say, has been rib season. I don't know. I've been craving ribs. Ribs have been in me. I've been in it. I mean, I'm just been into ribs like crazy. My lawyer makes incredible ribs, but like he had a barbecue Memorial Day and Juneteenth, and I went both. I mean, I went over both times, and the ribs were phenomenal. So that I think hit my wing cravings, and then the canceled dinner. Those incredible chefs over there. Montana Houston. I have to remember that name. Like Montana Houston. That's such a name, right? And Chef Jameer, they made ribs as a part of the tasting menu that I helped work with them, and I wanted those, and I went. I was like, "Can you do ribs?" And they were like, "Yes," and they did ribs. And those were the bomb. And then Bart's Bagels had some catering. They have the kitchen does bagels and all of that jazz. They make their own bagels in house, all of that. And then they also have these incredible spreads. They had white fish. They had this really good pastrami, salmon for lox. And it was just, oh my God, over the top. So I ended up getting bagels. And I also, of course, got the ribs and all the fixings. We didn't do potato salad because no one in this group, I think, knows how to make potato salad. And I'm very picky about that. So what is the alternative side when you don't want potato salad? Unless it's someone from that right? Pasta salad is great. We had all kinds of cool things. So we had coleslaw, we had pasta salad that was a chilled pasta salad, like a macaroni salad was good. Orzo, oh my goodness, a nice chilled orzo salad. Oh, that was good. We had what else do we have? We had this really good curry chicken salad. We had a good curry chicken salad that was really good. Well, good curry chicken salad, very good. It was the bomb. We had jalapeno cornbread, and that was great. We had a really good mac and cheese. Um, we had a summer corn salad. That's been good lately. Corn salads. I didn't realize it, and also my lawyer makes these incredible, like, oh my goodness, he's the only person I feel like in this city that I can go to their house and whatever they make, it just feels like home. Because I don't really go to that many people's house to eat. I love all of my friends, but none of my friends, well, Gio can cook, but Gio, we have to go to Gio's new rooftop. But he has a nice place. He lives in Fishtown, and I want to go over there. He can cook really well too, but I haven't done like a full-fledged meal, and I know he can cook. So that might be the other person. But it's actually people like House, Kelly's husband. Oh my God, he can cook his ass off. He's good too. It's only a few. Like let me think about it. Okay, I know some people that can cook, but it's like maybe five folks whose house I have gone to regularly and ate their food. Like they can cook. Because sometimes it's like, listen. But I'm like, when I think about the people I'm naming, a lot of them are older and skilled and like professional. Like they're not under 30. They're just not. I mean, I can cook. Mr. Johnson can cook, and he's under 30. But I mean, outside of my house, I can't think of other people who can cook that is like under 30. Everybody is like either over 40, and then you have, Gio, who's just massive. Jamarcus can cook some things. I think he makes good gumbo, but I haven't ate at, I haven't, have I? I don't, I mean, there's people that can cook sufficiently to live, but I don't know if I haven't tried. I mean, well, everybody likes to eat at my house. So, maybe that just shows who's the strongest in the cooking department. I think they can cook, what's the word, proficiently, but I don't know if it's like sufficiently. or they can cook sufficiently but proficiently, maybe not. I'm not dragging my friend's cooking skills. I'm just thinking, I'm thinking, I mean, when I was in college, I didn't cook at all because you know what it is. I'm the type that I like to cook. I can't cook like simple. I never use my kitchen in my house, my dorm, like my place now. Oh yeah, we cook in here, like we get it in. But I could never do. I never cooked in college. Like I always took advantage of the dining hall, and the dining hall was hit or miss sometimes. But it did what it needed to do. I just couldn't. I just couldn't with the kitchen. I think the kitchen was too small. I just felt like, you know, yeah, yeah. So yes, it was a really great Fourth of Jamarcus weekend. It was fabulous. The food was wonderful. So yes, we also went to Mr. Johnson. I tried Blondie, which is in Manayunk. Blondie was an incredible restaurant. We went to a lot of restaurants these past 2 weeks. As I gear up for Eater, which officially starts next Monday, July 17th, which a lot of things are happening around this time. July 17th is definitely a big, big day over here. But I started at Eater as the editor of Eater Philly, which of course is going to be in addition to all the other wonderful things that I'm continuing to do. So stay tuned, stay tuned. But yeah, I mean, Blondie was a great restaurant. New American, love all of the cocktails. They got so many cocktails, y'all, that there's something for everybody. They have like icy type of water ice themed cocktails. They have just the classics. They have specials. They do brown. They do something for gin. There's something for everyone. We truly loved it. The menu we tried out, new things on the menu. Listen, this smothered pork chop with the mashed potatoes and things. Woo, signature. Best smothered pork chop I've tried in Philadelphia in years. I don't know a better place that has a better smothered pork chop. And honestly, it's a rarity because people in the city are scared of pork. And I get it because there's a lot of people who are here that are Muslim. There's a lot of people who keep kosher. A lot of folks that don't do pork just in general. It's just like you East Coasters, I don't know. You don't like pork. I don't know why. Why? Those who don't do it for the religious reasons. But it feels like everybody is either Muslim or Muslim adjacent. Like for the black folks I know in Philly, like I feel like that are from the East Coast, they're either Muslim or Muslim adjacent, or because they have friends that don't eat pork, they often don't eat pork, and so it's like a thing. So when we can find a good pork chop in Philly, it feels like a steal. Just say. And oftentimes it's only in the most, it's in fancy chains, and like I don't really like to. I'm not a crazy girl for chains. Like I try to, unless you're like something remarkably upscale over the top, like it's hard to find, a pork chop. So Blondie isn't a chain, but they have a scrumptious pork chop there. So for those people observe. And there's other great things in the menu too. We tried so much stuff. We put it up on some IG, so it's down there. I think the lead photo on my IG is the pork chop because it was just phenomenal. I had lunch at Fork. Fork is on its 25th anniversary. Ellen Yin is a queen. She just won the James Beard Award. Mm. She is phenomenal. We had lunch at her restaurant, the restaurant that started it all. When you think about high street hospitality and all the incredible restaurants she's had since then, the high street movement, all the AKA restaurants, A Bar, A Kitchen. Oh my God, they're like top tier over there. Chef Eli Coop, like it's such a great restaurant program. High Street Provisions, and now in University at the Franklin Table. She's just doing it. She's a queen and she's incredible. And her revolution, her, market fresh, no pun intended on Market Street, but that farm to fork, vision she had over 2 decades ago is still the conversation. It's still the moment, and she's still the moment. So I went to Fork, had a lovely lunch. This is, Fork is one of the few places in Philly that is doing like nice business focused grown lunch. It's hard to find lunch spots in Philly. Like that are not like Panera Bread. Like I'm talking like a business lunch where you and your editor, you and your manager, you and your people, whatever. You want to go for a nice lunch in the daytime. It is hard to find places like that. Fork just executes a really great lunch. I had steak frites. I did a great salad. Oh my goodness, it was a gem salad they had that was great. And then I did a green goodness salad that I wanted to try with chicken comfit. It was so good. And they just had all kind of wonderful appetizers and desserts. Oh my God, they had this really great lemon tart, deconstructed lemon tart dessert that had dill, and it was just so zesty in all the right ways and memorable. And I took so many photos. Beautiful. Um, Went to so many great places. Where else did I go? I went to Casino Live, and over the weekend I did a cute 1 day staycation and went to the Prime Rib, which I hadn't been to in a while. Oh, can we talk about the Prime Rib? Can we talk about just that? Every time I often, sometimes I sleep on the Prime Rib because everyone talks about steakhouses, and it's like always like, of course you got to about Barclay Prime, which is, a classic, standard. Um, of course the girls talk about Del Frisco's and Steak 48, and you have those. Um, but I always forget that prime rib is the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's in Casino Live, and it's right on the side on the first floor. First of all, Casino Live hotels are nice. We was in a very nice suite that had a great view. My good friend Monica, she's going to the Beyonce concert, and it just hit me that she's going to be checking into that hotel, and she's going straight to the concert. From there. And I was like, wow, that is so genius, because it is, if the boys and I didn't already have plans how we were going to do this whole concert thing. We have an agenda, we have Uber Reserve, we're doing some things, and we're going to a really nice, private pre-party for Beyonce's concert, Renaissance. So just when we thought we knew what our plans were, our plans got impended for something more surprising coming. So, just stay tuned. But our outfits are definitely official. But yes, she's staying in that hotel, which is so smart, because the view we saw all of the Citizens Bank, Citizens Stadium, Xfinity Live, like all of the major spots around here, and this is South Philly. We're talking about, they're right over there. So like, it's not going to take anything for her to Uber back and Uber, and she can even walk if she wanted to. Like, she's going to be able to beat all of the crazy traffic and things. And we weren't playing that day on Uber. We got an Uber Reserve, a nice XL. All of us are going to get picked up at one place, and we're all going to ride out together so we can just hit the scene together, because, you really can't play on B Day. You can't play. You just can't. I was thinking about it already. I was like, if we try to, on the day of, coordinate travel, there might be surges. It might be a long wait. I can't, everything has to be on time, that day. This Wednesday. So I can't play. And this is going to be her first United States appearance in America. Like, look, I know they say North America, Southern Canada. We don't count that. This is the first that she hits the continental United States. This is the first city. Philadelphia is the first. And we will be the first in the United States of America to see Queen Bee perform. Okay? This is important. This is a moment in American history, that we have not seen in years. Okay? An artist at her magnitude giving a show like that in a city like this. It's serious. And before you start saying Taylor Swift, loves Taylor Swift. Loves Taylor Swift down. She broke up with that little boy. We're trying to move on. We're trying to forget about that weird episode. And we're just gonna we're trying to move on. We'll see. But she's, her tours. It definitely has done its thing. But this is, two different things going on, I think about, like, when Britney had great concerts doing her thing, but Michael Jackson was about to get up there and keep going with This Is, but he just, things happened. He couldn't do that big show. This Is It, right? I feel like, we only, I don't know, maybe Beyonce will one day do a residency. I don't know. Well, she's done a residency, but like a Vegas type of situation, I don't know. But I just feel like this is going to be probably like the last or second to last of the big, big concerts of the prime of her career. And I think we're going to get a break, or we're going to get, we're going to get a break. Like after this, maybe one more show, but then we're going to get a break, and then she's going to come back. I don't think she's going to stop performing because she's, she's in her early 40s, but I think that kind of concert energy, we're not getting, I think it's going to slow down. Rightfully so. She's got some lovely children, are very young, like very, very young children. And she deserves a break. I mean, her breaks have been longer, but her comebacks have been more and more enduring. And so I do sense that this is, everyone thought Formation, I was like, no, Formation was mid-30s. No, she can't. And then Homecoming happened, right? And everybody thought that was it. I'm like, no. But I do feel like this Act 1, Act 2, this phase, I feel like once these acts are done, for however they are, whatever they're going to be, I think that that's when she's going to finally take that moment. And I feel like she's going to be like, okay, this is it. That's my theory. You can sense it, and it's okay. Like I've grown up with Beyonce music for half of my life. For 2/3 of my life. Let me take that back. More than 2/3 of my life. I think I've had more Beyonce music in my life than have not, actually. Yeah, like I grew up with her in some variation. So, as a fan, I feel like this is probably how Mariah Carey fans feel. I mean, I like Mariah, but I mean, Mariah's okay. So, fun fact about the difference between Mariah and Beyonce in age is like Mariah. I was born October 12th, 1991. The number one hit in this country was "Emotions" by Mariah Carey. It's a fun fact. Emotions was literally number one on the charts when I was born. It's true. So I'm not in the Mariah. I'm not a lamb, but I do appreciate her. And again, her music has endured and everything. Janet too. Now I love me some Janet. But again, I didn't. And I grew up on their music, but they weren't like, I mean, I'm not saying they're old people's music because I don't think Whitney's old people's music. I'm just saying that there is a generational break. Like that wasn't the artist that I was, Beyonce is more so solo Beyonce. I mean, Destiny's Child definitely was in the conversation for sure, but more so solo Beyonce, which was 20 years ago. Danger Your Love came out in the summer of 2003. It is now 2023. So she has been in my life forever. Even before, right? Survivor, all that. That was all middle school. Oh my goodness, I'm aging myself, aren't I? But yeah, that was my era. That's what I listened to. So if she decides, like, hey, after this tour or one more tour, I'm about to start rolling it up, I get it. Do it, end on a high note, right? Like sometimes some of our artists that we keep telling to keep on being on tour, look, y'all we don't buy them tickets for everybody like this. We don't show up for a lot of artists like this. People are spending money for Drake to do whatever he's doing on stage with a hologram. I don't get it, won't get it. But again, I feel like, and that's another person that I like, though Drake was mixtape Drake, solo Drake, that was all my high school to college. And the thing about Drake, he just didn't grow up. He's getting his nails painted, which is nothing wrong. Clearly, I get my nails done. He's getting better with his nails because I don't know what he was doing the first time. He had yellow nails. Now they're pink, and he's doing other things, barrettes in the hair. He's calling homophobia. But I'm kind of like, Drake, you perpetuate toxic masculinity, which leads to the type of homophobia you're facing now on the internet, which he doesn't deserve. But it's like, come on, Drizzy, Drake, if that's Champagne Poppy, whatever he wants to call himself nowadays. But he's on tour and he's doing them stadiums are wild. I've seen those crowds. Y'all like his ass. Mm. But that's life. So, anywho, prime rib. Prime rib was phenomenal. I had the Japanese Wagyu steak, which was divine. Mr. Johnson and I, he had I think they call it a millionaire's martini. And it was a really good martini that had a little bit of kava to give it a nice little sparkle. Really a millionaire's, martini. The price of that martini was ridiculous. But it was good. It had an olive stuffed with caviar, a caviar stuffed olive. And it was just over the top. Then we had a seafood tower, which was a really good seafood tower. It's not the tallest tower, but it was a wider tiers of the tower. And the seafood was wild. Lobster and crab and oysters, oysters for days, all types of little things. That was definitely a memorable tower. I mean, Pearl and Mary's tower is more exquisite and wild, but that was like the supreme tower. So there was something even more ridiculous. But that seafood tower at the prime rib is enough. I think the supreme tower that Lauren and I had at Pearl and Mary, this was a couple of months ago. That tower, I feel like, was meant to be treated as a meal, but we treated it as a glorious appetizer. But nonetheless, it was divine. And they had oysters Rockefeller, which is like one of my favorite, seafood appetizers is the oysters Rockefeller, which is so good. That was great. And then the main course, of course, I had the Japanese Wagyu steak. We had shared that 5 truffle mac and cheese. Mr. Johnson got a filet mignon. We shared the Chilean sea bass, which was really good. And we had those trumpet mushrooms that are just so good. And asparagus, because we're like basic steak eaters. No, asparagus because I just, like, as much as I want to try everything else, I just feel like the traditional steak dinner is a really great grilled mushroom situation with the asparagus, and you have to have a good mac and cheese. Like, that is like the trio we always have with a good steak. I can't break it. I can't beat the curse. I don't want anything else. Like, I don't want anything else. I feel like mac and cheese, a trumpet, whatever type of mushroom situation, and the asparagus, that is the ultimate duo. Like, I don't want scalloped potatoes. I don't want, what's that, aldu, or whatever, potatoes, I don't want all that extra stuff. Mashed potatoes, if they don't have mac and cheese, but if they have mac and cheese, I don't want mashed potatoes with the steak. I don't want it. I want it good. Like, now, see, at Blondie, that stuffed pork chop comes with mashed potatoes, and it comes with mashed potatoes, which are really good, and it comes with greens. And the greens are sickening. I think they use turkey for like a smoked turkey to go with the greens, but they were really good over there. That made sense for that entree. But with steaks at really nice restaurants, you always have to get the sides, and the sides always serve like 2 or 3 people, and you always order the sides separately from the steak. So that's what we did. And then for dessert, we had a really good cheesecake, and we had this delicious double trouble chocolate fudge, and at the melted fudge drizzling on top, they served it like that. It was just food porn heaven. It was incredible. And then we had some great wine. Red wine. Love me some red wine. It was Newton, a bottle of Newton, 2015. Really, really aged well. Oh my goodness, I just will never forget that wine. And then all the cocktails. It was a Friday. It was a freaky Friday. It was a very lovely Friday night. So before I get into, I guess I'll start with this and then I'll circle back. So I was, as you all know, that initially I had set up to look like I'm at a staycation in Philly for the weekend. This is us for 2 days. Well, I did that in surprise because my dearest friend, like I said earlier, newly engaged, Amanda and Joe, they're engaged, but it was a surprise. So their 4 year anniversary was this past weekend, and Joe wanted to surprise her. And they celebrated their 4 year anniversary where at the place where they first met, or they went on their first date, which was the Pingery. Um, and they didn't stay at the hotel, but they had, I think, got drinks there, and it was like a cute little situation. It was like a full circle experience. And the Pingery is like a really, really nice hotel. It's a 5-star hotel in Baltimore. I would say the gem of Baltimore, that area that they were at. As someone who's now been there a couple of times now. But they were there, and the plan was she didn't know she was going to Baltimore. She just knew she was going somewhere. So it was either going to be DC or I mean, it could have been New York. They've done New York, but she didn't know where she was going. And so then he took her to Baltimore, of course. He's from there, and surprised that the Pendry was just really, really lovely, lovely hotel. And she just was like, I think, they were just, it was going to be a very nice rekindling. Now, see, in my opinion, like, I don't want to, everybody's engaged with different. I think he was dropping so many subtle, these hints were strong. Because I was thinking to myself, like, when I look back, I'm like, listen. Well, I'll tell y'all what else happened before I tell you, my thoughts about some of that surprise and how, she didn't know, but she sensed it, but she didn't really know. Women, just sidebar the straight. This is for the straights. Straights, women, y'all be acting like y'all be knowing when y'all gonna get pro. Y'all think y'all do, but y'all really don't. And then y'all be in your head thinking, but how many times in the back of your mind, some of y'all, when y'all thought it was gonna be some proposal energy and it didn't happen, and you was still like, ooh, because listen, some straights I know literally was going to people's wedding showers wanting to get proposed and acting like if it didn't come, they was putting the pressure on people at wedding showers. Not these two. They have class. I'm talking about somebody else. Somebody else I know that went to a wedding shower maybe around 2 years ago from July 17th that just went to a wedding shower and just one of the people, not both of the couple, one of the couple, not of this couple, I'm talking about some other straights. Just want to clarify, went to a wedding shower that I may have had myself, who knows, and literally was like, if they need to get engaged by my wedding, and I'm sitting here looking like, how you bringing this kind of energy to somebody else's shit? How fucking tacky can you be? That was the day I realized I couldn't really fuck with them that much. Went to with one of them as much. Went to their wedding though, and you all listen. People have listened to this show long enough, probably since that this is a reoccurring theme. But I digress. There's just ways to do engagements. This was not that. This was done classy. So Joe let me and her other best friend, Rwana, who she's grown up with. I always say that's like her Jamarcus because they grew up together. They've been friends forever. He did the right thing. He let everybody know, let me know for months. I knew this was coming for months. Didn't know how I was gonna kind of execute. We found out close in the months, but like I knew for a minute, and he did it well. I was the type that was just like, look, we're not doing it at graduations. We're not doing it. I mean, birthdays are cute, but you want to kind of let people, I'm big. I personally see, I don't want to interject. I'm just saying, like, you want to do it. I just remember, she wanted her friends to be there, which that happened. Me, I'm country. I didn't care about my friends being there. I just needed my mama to know. And my mama and my parents were there. That's all I wanted. I feel like if it was more people, it would have been like even more, a lot to take in. Everybody there, it's a lot. But that's what she wanted. I remember she wanted friends. But I just wanted my mama to know. I'm Southern. I need my parents to know. But her parents were there, a part of this whole thing. So everybody was contacted. And also I was big on like, just don't do it in conjunction with a celebration, which he got. Some folks tacky, like I always have a rule. Don't ask someone to marry you at an engagement, at someone else's engagement, someone else's wedding. Don't do it at someone's graduation unless it's yours, if that's what you want to do. But don't do it at your girlfriend's graduation. Like she's got one coming up, but he knew that. Like, because people do this. Listen, the most hood ass proposals. This is gonna have you cracking up. Is that baby showers? People love to propose with baby showers. Sometimes it be the shotgun wedding crew who do the proposal right when the person's ready. It be a lot of that going on. People got their reasons. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, you know, I just know what her do's and don'ts are for stuff like that. Just because you've been friends with somebody for over a decade, you're gonna talk about these type of things. So I just knew that much, and he got that off the jump and understood it, and so it was a great, important coronation. But I always feel like anniversaries often tell it. Like I never wanted. I don't think I never wanted to get proposed on the anniversary because I always felt like it would just be a hint. But we'll get back to production and the straights and the proposals. But so we get there at the Pendry, we're in the courtyard. I really want to stay at the hotel, but I know my ass would have been caught. So I was like, that hotel was nice. I went to a nearby hotel. We stayed at the Residence Inn in Marriott, but we was there for overnight stay. So I was just like, this is smart. I can pull up. We all incognito. We all was like, she's not in the facility. We tracked this down. We all got there. We all got in the courtyard area. We got in the back. He had the photographer. His good friend is a photographer. He was there. His name is Josh. Another Josh. All the Joshes are just so nice and chill. So the photographer was there. We all kind of made sure everybody came. Everybody was there. Everybody who was invited attended. Emphasis on everybody who was invited. But we all invited. We all came. We all got in the area. And the way it was supposed to work is she was to come in. She's supposed to recognize us and then, kind of be surprised by this proposal. This man getting on the knee. So, of course, she walks in, maybe 7 seconds in her walk, and she sees it. She started crying. She knew what it was. I was like, but straight girls, they have no chill. They just hype. She knew what it was given. And I'd be thinking sometimes, I feel like straight directors. I mean, I'm not a director. It was everything. But I was like, I know my friend. Like, you would just be I'm like, it's not going to be like this surprise of like, oh, why are you all here? Of course she knew what was going down. It will only be one reason. Only one reason. She started crying because she's that girl. She was crying. She was just like immediately like floored. And he gets on his knee. And I feel like he was on his knees for a long time. Because I was in my mind with my phone. I had to, I was like, what is you saying? Get up. What is going on? It's too long. But no, we had our cameras right, child. He was saying some stuff. I wasn't even processing it. I was just so like in awe. We were all in awe. We were just like, what is he saying though? Because it was like he was up there trying to give a speech. I don't think she might have remembered, but I feel like she was just so verklempt. I guess that's the best time I could ever use this word. She was such in verklempt that she couldn't even, and the ring was a badass ring, which I saw that ring for months. I was like, oh, she's going to faint. It was a gorgeous ring. He puts on the finger. I think she just said yes. He was saying some stuff. I can't remember. It was so dramatic. It was, the straights love to give you a performance on the knee, baby. He was on that knee, honey. He was just like, I think I remember him saying, the love of my life. I want to be with you for the rest of my life. I love you. I was like, oh my goodness. It was so touching. And she was so happy. And she was so cute. And like every straight woman, she started thinking about her nails. So it's like, girl, you look fine. You're gorgeous. This is great. She gets the ring on. She's gorgeous. Her mom is there. Her father's there. Her parents are there. Her brother is there. Everyone's there. It was so, so sweet. They had a whole photo shoot. They took photos. Just gorgeous, gorgeous. I got to break it on my Instagram. And so the fun part is about breaking it on Instagram is that like every single man who's ever had a crush on her for the past time we've known each other was in them comments being like, congratulations. I can't even tell you. I got a text message from somebody that said, I knew this day was going to come. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy for her. A bunch of men. I'm not even gonna name those men on this show. It don't even matter. But it was just so many men that had this unprofessed love that just thought she was gonna be there. She's off the market. I told you all this was gonna be the one. I told you all for years. Listen, I knew. I know. I know a provider when I see one. You can just always tell which one it is. I've been best friends with this girl for over 10 years. I've seen many boyfriends, love interests, things come and go, but I knew this one, Joe, was the one. I knew he was the one to stick around because he just had the most chill. He played his cards right. See, it's once again the girls are not dating Philly men. They're not dating Philly men. Look, I have a Jersey boy. I don't, how is these bad? How are we in Philly, bad as we are? Philly be taking L's. We're going to talk more about Philly taking L's from Meek Mill to Darius Dawson, who's an Eagles fan, apparently. He's Philly adjacent. Y'all just taking L's on bad. Y'all just don't, Philly men just don't know how to handle a baddie. Like, I don't know. And Lord knows we gave him shots. She definitely was giving Philly shots. Connecticut. We love New York. We was, trying to give everybody in the tri-state area some love. It's always the men from these secluded cities, this just mind their business. Being Joe, no pun intended, being chill. That's how you do it. Joe Cool. We taking it back to Snoopy. You gotta be chill. That's the type those are the men that be getting it. Mr. Johnson from Trenton. Just chilling, wasn't doing too much. And I feel like I look back at some of my men in the back, listen. So I knew it. So a lot of hearts were broken, on this past Saturday. July 8th was definitely one for the books. Okay, people hearts were broken on July 8th. All right, a lot of men realize, oh, he's serious. Because there's a lot of men that be in the back knowing you got a dude, and they never gonna be disrespectful. So you always got what I call, what those men call? We call them, oh my goodness, understudies. They're in the play. They see somebody in the main role, but they like waiting for that man to either get sick or fall through or fall flat so they could be that understudy. You got there's always a bunch of understudies. And let me be clear, understudies may not be recruited. So let me be classy with this by saying it's not that people are like, oh, I got understudies waiting to replace you. You don't be having to cast them. Sometimes the cast comes in at a time where you're doing you're chilling, and the person is coming, they waited for that opportunity to take siege. And let me be clear, it don't be the person in the relationship or the person that's there that's coming in that mindset. But it's just somebody in their head that thinks that the person is going to be available for them. Like in their head, they think, oh, somebody's going to be available for me, waiting for me to get out this relationship so I can shoot my shot. They on standby. So there's a lot of understudies and people on standby that was in their head that came out wowed. Listen, the text messages, the DMs I got, and it's funny because they go hard and it's like you could tell, be like the congratulations, I'm so happy for her. Okay, that's a nice thing to say. Random man that's like, oh, all these years, I'm so happy for her. It's like, you was just, where this come from? I mean, listen, we had thousands, I had hundreds and hundreds of views on that photo, that slide. And I knew a lot of it. I was like, I ain't had this many straight men like a post. My post be for the, the gays and the women. But, I saw all these straight men. I was like, But, listen, when you know what you want, a good man, what they say, what she say, rich, what Lotto say, rich men, let me not, long story short, some will pay it all and some will make you choose. You go with the former, not the latter. Okay. And so, yes, it was a very beautiful engagement. Pentry was beautiful. Baltimore was Baltimoreing, but I have a weird relationship with Baltimore. I don't know. The verdict's still on Baltimore for me as a city. I'm trying to figure it out. I feel like it's like the best of the best and the grimy of the grimy in Baltimore as a city, the culture. I'm just like, they're not as friendly. Not that Philly's friendly. And see, that's the thing. Like you think Baltimore, I'm saying Baltimore's not as friendly, but then I'm thinking about like Philly. And I'm like, Philly's not that friendly, but Philly is friendlier than Baltimore, which says a lot. And I'm from Houston, which is the friendliest city in America. So, it's just hard to figure out what it was giving. But I don't know. I just feel like Boston was just so, there's a city. But Pendry was beautiful. Great cocktails. Oh my goodness, great cocktails. Beautiful view, beautiful vibe all together. It was a lovely, memorable engagement. So I guess I can put my notes on about the Straits. So this is my thoughts. Anybody who's going to take you to the Pendry on that type of level on your 4-year anniversary, that's a dead giveaway. Unless you come from money, you super rich, I look back now and I'm like, how could I mean, I think to myself, she says she senses she knows, but I feel like in her head the logic is like when I look back, who gonna propose to me if you taking me out to the Pendry, this 5-star hotel? Clearly, you ain't just putting me there just to put me there. To me, the dead giveaway would have been like if like me and Mr. Johnson had our honeymoon at the Four Seasons, and we stayed there for like days, and it was a really, really nice time. I don't think I would have went to the Four Seasons with him prior to that, unless we were either engaged or we were, doing something. It just could not have been, I feel like, anything we could have done pre-engagement. I just feel like something of that magnitude like that. And again, let me put this in context because some of y'all, I got some old heads into the podcast. Look, we get it. Y'all in y'all 40s and 50s with disposable income, or your kids then graduate or something. You got some money like that. Yeah. Go to the Four Seasons now in your 40s and 50s. But I'm talking about like, I had got married at 30. Nobody in their 20s that's not like coming from, unless they live that lifestyle, goes to hotels like that. Like Joe was like 31. I think about it sometimes. We're very young, but we be acting like old skeezers. Like we be living like old geezers. Like it's like nobody at 31 in their early 30s go to the Pendry on some cute little let's spend a weekend there. Nobody do that. Nobody does that. Like that's unless you're trying to do something serious. So I feel like that was a dead giveaway in retrospect. She says she thought it, but I feel like people try not to say the classy. Listen, I'm gay. I won't say it. You don't take nobody to a place like that, a hotel like that, unless you try to do something serious. Listen, if she had not got engaged and they went to that hotel, it would have, and they stayed at the hotel. See, last time they did drinks, because let me tell you something, them drinks was not cheap. Them drinks was like $18, near $20 a cocktail. So I could see somebody being like, look, you're going to have about 3 of them drinks, and we're going to have some snacks, and you breaking the bank, baby. And that was like 4 years ago. So 27, 26, you at the Pendry for some drinks. That's cute. You ain't staying in a hotel like that at that age. No. So putting it in full retrospect, of course she assumed that day was going to be special because of the hotel. You're not taking me to a hotel like that. Listen, some of the straight men, I gotta train them better. If you're trying to surprise, that's a strong implication. And then he was probably nervous throughout the day, so she got them nervous spells and thoughts. But he was laying it on her. I mean, in many ways, if there was ever a way to get a yes, he was going to get a yes. You brought me to the Pendry. You brought all of my friends and my parents and my family. How could she say anything else? Take notes. Not to say we coercing people into matrimony. That's not what I'm saying. This is a feminist podcast. I'm just saying that if you're going to really if you really want to make that impression and you're doing it right. See, he was like, look, we just got into the new place. He like, I ain't gonna have her thinking we out here shacking. Look, because parents be like, I don't know about this. Y'all living in a nice place, and this is some serious living here, right? You thinking, if I'm gonna be doing all this with you, you definitely wifey material. I can't be living large like this and then not having I get it. Listen, a provider. The men gotta know. Listen, you better put it together. So I guess the signs were there already, huh? Yeah, the signs were there. I think I would have listened. Mr. Johnson did it really, like my proposal was a surprise because we didn't even do it in a place, like we didn't even do it in a restaurant. He took me to a waterfowl, and my parents was all in on this surprise, y'all know. And it's just like It could have been anyway, because he would have tried something, but it just would have been a dead giveaway. I was like, why are we here? This is too nice. This is too nice to do this just to, So when we went to the waterfall, it was like nice too and romantic, but it was just like we were just taking a little view, because I would have known. I had no idea I was going to get proposed to that day. That was the best kept secret. Yeah, that was the best kept secret. But it was lovely. It's still it's the weekend is over, so we're into new. It's still processing this. This is just like wow. I'm gonna be a best man. I'm gonna be a best man. I'm gonna be a best man. I'm in the wedding party. Rwanda's gonna be the maid of honor. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna take this duty, seriously, which means I'm gonna have to invest. But see, he gave me a heads up, so I've been creating my own little budget, and this is why you gotta let people know. You gotta let the friend listen. He knew that the people that was gonna be investing time and strategy and coinage need to be contacted in advance. Because one thing is when you have friends that be eloping or doing them little, you be looking your mind like doing math, like, girl, when we doing, it takes some time to plan this. But he was just great. So I kind of have some ideas as the, best man. And everybody who came to the engagement party that was invited to come was invited and was a part of it. No sneaky business. We all was very intentional about who we wanted for her and who she wanted to see there. Of course, some people live really, really further, but if you was on the East Coast and you didn't get that invitation, that was intentional, baby. Like the friends knew who she wanted to see at the engagement. Because when we don't have to sneak out to other parts of Pennsylvania and people's state and be, further east and then don't tell them. I digress. Just talking about this past follies with people planning things, not to me, but for other folks, and just but you live and you learn. So I'm excited. Congratulations to my faves, Amanda and Joe. Such a good time. So other things that happened before I get into the tea that's been going in the news. I had to curate the news this time around. I just finished the Black Chef Showdown on Sunday. You all saw the Black Chef Showdown. It was incredible. It was immaculate. We judged all these different cheesesteaks, but the winner of the non-vegan cheesesteak was Brotherly Grub, which is like a food truck. Oh my God, incredible. It was a barbecue brisket cheesesteak on this really good, I think it was a really good, like sharp provolone, but it was incredible. It was the best thing there. And the crazy part was it was one of the first things we tried, and it just knocked out the ballpark. Me, Abel, Jamarcus, and Mr. Johnson, we went there. We had everything. My good Judy, Patty Jackson was there. Field on Philly, who's an incredible Black woman who has who's a great food influencer. Black and Mobile, the brothers were there. Katika, which is Jason, who's over there doing that. He was there. They did it together. Katika and Black and Mobile, that they collaborate to put on this Black Chef Showdown. It's their first ever one. And I feel like it's coming back. It should come back. I hope it comes back. It was just dope. Lots of Black people, lots of Black influences. The media was there. It was a vibe. Everyone just had a good time. The food was incredible. The vegan cheesesteak that won was a place called Paradise Oasis. They made a vegan seafood cheesesteak that was just like, what? How did you do that? That was incredible. And so they won best best vegan cheesesteak. So it was two categories, which was good. And so there was some love for everybody. It was a great feeling that they made food. It was food for everybody to try, and there was something for everybody. So if you don't eat pork, a lot of people don't eat pork. A lot of people don't eat red meat. Ugh, you guys and your food sense. I know, I get it. But so there were some people don't eat red meat, don't eat beef. I'm like, God, y'all all got things. And I get it. I'm like, oh my goodness. But they had salmon cheesesteaks. But see, let me just say this. I just have to say this. I have to put this on the table. Cheesesteak to me is just, I'm just, it's cheese, it's chicken, it's the bread, and it's the steak. It's beef, baby. A cheese steak. I get to all this chicken cheesesteak. Call it something else. Call it a great glorified chicken sandwich, a chicken hoagie. But when you say a cheesesteak, the steak to me is the red part. It's steak, it's beef. So there's no such thing as a chicken cheesesteak, a salmon cheesesteak. It's something else. That's just me. I didn't make up the rules. That's just my belief. So when I hear people say I'm having a salmon cheesesteak, my head just is like, that's oxymoronic. The whole point of a cheesesteak is the steak, that ribeye, whatever you using to complement the cheese, to go in the bread. That's the way we do it. This is how we do it. That's how we do it. And of course, the judges agreed because I think the only beef cheesesteak, I think there was probably like there was one other, but the only beef that was that brisket, and it won because that was a cheesesteak to me. Everybody be telling me about all these different, cheesesteak, salmon, this and all that. Listen, if you don't like red meat, you don't like red meat. You're going to miss out on some things. It's just okay. But don't try to reinvent it. I mean, I guess I'm sounding a little hypocritical because vegan had the vegan cheese. There's no steak in anything vegan. But at least they know, and it's like obviously alternative. But I just feel like these other places be trying to, I don't know. They always be like, "Oh, you gotta try our chicken cheesesteak." I'm like, I don't really like the idea of melted cheese on chicken that kind of way. Personally, I'm not a chicken cheesesteak fan. Salmon cheesesteak, I just feel like it's too much. It's overwhelming, and then the salmon being overcooked in a way to fit in the, just not my thing. But there's people in Philly I know that are like, don't eat red meat, don't eat pork, don't eat. And I just be like, oh, baby, you're so insufferable. But I get it. Everybody have dietary issues. I respect people's dietary issues. It's just hard to go out. Just don't go to a tasting menu with me. I don't think I could do a tasting menu with people who have that many no's. Like I have another friend that I work with, and they just be like, I can't do this. I'm like, what are you eating, grass? Like, and then I'll be wondering, like, is it because you're really allergic or you just had one bad experience with something and you think that every place is serving it? I feel like people do that. They're like, oh, I don't eat oysters. Okay, why don't you eat oysters? Oh, because I went to this restaurant. So you went to a bad restaurant, a cheap restaurant, got sick because you ate some oysters from a place that you should have been eating oysters from, and now you want to hate on good oysters? That's at the oyster bar. That's at Verdict Fit. You hating on good seafood because of one bad experience. Food for thought. So yes, a lot was going on this week. Went to Old Bar. Well, first of all, let me back up. I went to Pixar Putt, which is the new Disney Pixar place where you play the putt golf. Look, it's there in Penn's Landing area. It's a lot going on. I want to say it like this. I'm gonna keep it cute. It's cute. It's nostalgic. Okay. If you got kids, they will enjoy it. But I don't know. It's an age range. I feel like you should take kids that's under 13. 13 and under. If they over 13 are not going to enjoy it because I feel like it's a little too kiddie for them. But I feel like if they're under 13, they will appreciate it. They'll have fun. There's like 18 to 20. There's like 18 Pixar exhibitions, like places they can play, like golf rounds and putt. It starts off super easy, so you think it's an easy thing, but it gets a little challenging when you keep going down the row of all these like stops and things. It's cute, it's fun. They have really good merch. If you are into Pixar and Disney, they have some really great t-shirts and swag that I really thought was dope. Don't go when it's hot because the sun directly falls on you in that area and it's no way out. And they try to have these little tents, but the tents don't necessarily help as much. But it can get hot. They do have water bottles. They do provide water on the premises free. The ticket price is a little, everybody had different thoughts about the ticket prices. I feel like they're okay. They're a little up there, but it's Disney. And the thing about it is that area that I'm talking about do not do concessions. So you should plan to eat before you get there, or you should eat afterwards because there's no food served, there's no drinks. You can't drink or you can't do anything on the premises because the putts are very sensitive. The designs, all of that stuff is very sensitive. So they don't want to, gain damage or anything to it. So you can't eat or drink on the property. So, and the experience is I would say it's about a good 90-minute experience. So it is some time. It is time. So you are getting your money's worth.
When I tell you that if you go through all the exhibits, which you most likely you will, and you really participate, and then you also account for, the line, the flow of the crowd, it is about a 90-minute experience. So it's not like a money grab in that regard. You do get a chance to have you get Pixar'd out. By the time you finish each exhibit, you there's Pixar movies you didn't even remember. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot about Luca. I think a lot of people forgot about Luca. So there's some things there. Um, they're all Pixar films. So Turning Red is the new Pixar film that came out last year. They're gonna do an Elemental exhibit soon. They had a bunch of they had all the different sequels. They had Finding Nemo. They had Up. They had um, what's the other one? Soul. Um, but A Bug's Life. Wow, that was the second Pixar film. Monsters Inc. There was another one that everyone like. Oh, Inside Out. They had Inside Out. That all of the Incredibles. That all of the Disney Pixar films. Somewhat, and Ratatouille was in there. I just remember so many of them. They were fun. They were really pretty. So it was very good on that front. Can't deny. But yes, if it's hot, don't go if it's hot. Now, after seven, because I know there's some grown ass folks on this podcast listening, there's like, what about the grown folks? So there is a thing called Pixar After Dark. So at 7 o'clock till closing, they allow adults only. You have to be over the age of 18 to attend. And so this is the for the grown folks, this is for the couples, this is for the cute couples that want to do some things, this is for friends and besties and folks to get together and do some things. This is that vibe. And I know they do group package, reduced ticket costs for packages. So if you're an adult and you want to be with a crew, I think they do like a pack of four that's like cheaper. So I think it's like $30 individual, but I feel like if you get a pack of four, it's like 100 if you go with like four people. So it's like a thing you can do with friends and a vibe. It's fun. But but for starters, don't come drunk. Don't come high. Don't do that because no, don't do that. Do all that after the fact. Um, but get food. They're smart and strategic in the get food at the end because I went with Josh and his boyfriend, and we went to we did it as a group of three, and it was fun. It was chill. We got really into it, so it got a little sweaty at the end. But I think it's because the sun. We came at this interesting time when the sun was about to set. But I tell people like it is an activity. But we did dinner that night at the old bar, and that was fabulous. The old bar was on point. Mm. The old bar was phenomenal. Just it did what it's supposed to do. It did what it's supposed to do. Um, just a great place. Love it. Garza's classic. Had a burger with the fries. Um, love their cocktail. They have a cocktail called the Rose Gold. It's like Garza's signature all over the city cocktail that you can find at different places he owns. But it wasn't on the menu, but I asked for it. So if you go to some of these Garza's restaurants, if possible, ask for the Rose Gold. They will know what you're talking about, and it's like one of my all-time favorite cocktails in Philadelphia. It's like on my top five list. Like the Rose Gold is just such a fun cocktail, but they don't put it on the menu because sometimes they don't have enough to make quantity. But sometimes they have some enough ingredients to make one or make something for one person, but they can't make it for the whole. They have enough for the whole crowd, but it's a phenomenal drink. And the Rose Gold is the color of rose gold, FYI. And then sidebar, I got a new Telfeezy. You all haven't seen it. It's the one with it's not it's the I always call it plastic leather, but it's not. That's not what it's called. Um, I'm trying to figure out what they call it, but it's like not pleather, but it's like this look. Uh, it's a very good look, like a people call it pleather. Um, and it's called PU leather, but I don't. It's something, but it's got a nice look to it. But it has that shimmery look on it that a lot of people like, um, and so they call it PU or polyester. But they like it's not a not a pleather though. It's not fake. It's just a shiny look that goes with a synthetic look, and it's very shiny. It's a good mood, and a lot of people like um, those bags. But I love this Telfar bag that I got. It's a different. It's black, but it's got the shiny black, which I really like too, which is really great. Um, but I participated in the patent leather. That's what it's called, patent leather. Black patent leather. That's the one I got, and it was with the bag security program that they have, and the bag security program is like no joke. Um, the bag security program is dope. They say that's their last bag security program for a while or ever. I don't know if I believe them, but that's what they're claiming. They're claiming that they're not doing it anymore. Sure, but everybody and their mother like went crazy. I think this is like black. This is the fifth one they did, and I never. I heard rumors that it takes long, you have to wait, whatever. But the crazy part was that I got it like in like 2 weeks. So I was kind of like, I made this order around this time, and I got it in like 2 weeks. Like it came fast, shockingly. Like I feel like Telfar is probably the best when it comes to delivery. Like I've always gotten my bags and stuff like fast. Like I've never had a problem with Telfar. But maybe until you know. But anywho, I'm gonna say this before I say into new events. 2 weeks ago, you all saw me with the governor, Governor Josh Shapiro. That was on a Thursday, the day before the Supreme Court decisions were made. I was at the governor's mansion with my good friend Andre Carroll, and we, went. There was a nice event. It was like the like finale of Pride at the governor's mansion. The last time I went to the governor's mansion for Pride was when Governor Tom Wolf was there, but Josh Shapiro was there. And, he recognized the kid, he recognized me, of course. His wife was there, the first lady. Austin Davis, Lieutenant Governor, was there. His wife, the second lady, she's pregnant and she's due like in September, and the baby's gonna be a Virgo, which is nice, but it's like close to Libra, but like a September Virgo. But he's gonna be a first time dad, 33, lieutenant governor, first black man to be elected lieutenant governor in this great state of this great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It was a great time. Josh talked about Governor Shapiro talked about just how much he was going to be, continuing to fight for LGBTQ rights and be an advocate for us. And it just was special. And it was interesting because somebody was telling me there was going to be a Supreme Court decision that was going to come the next day. And they just felt like it was going to go in the negative. Which brings me to hot topics. It did. It did. A lot of things went bad with the Supreme Court decisions. For starters, student loan forgiveness died. I was really upset. I had a little hope, y'all, because of what happened with the other case. But nope, they just struck it down. But Biden can still do something. There's always a way for Biden, and Biden better get to it because, look, buddy, your reelection, that was supposed to be the one that's supposed to save you. Okay, taking $20,000 off of people who are college educated folks that would vote for you. Was not a good day. Affirmative action, gutted. But, honestly, so I have theories about this. So everybody's been talking like, oh, affirmative action is dead. It's going to die. We don't know what to do. Colleges are going to know what to do. Let me say this. We are in an era where if this would have happened in 1985, I would have been like, ooh, y'all, we don't know. But baby, there's a lot of things. A lot of things. So before I get into the alternatives, I want to say that I do recognize the frustrating aspect of this. I wrote a great piece, if I do say so myself, for Rolling Stone. Shout out to Rolling Stone for more reasons. We'll get to that maybe in 2 weeks. But shout out to Rolling Stone. Wrote a piece for them about this affirmative action decision. And just said that it's basically was never about meritocracy. What I hated was how Asians were weaponized in this situation. I was a little pissed off that the fact that there were some plaintiffs involved that were Asian folks on TV, in media. And, these are people of color, right? We're supposed to be POC. And see, this is why I've been falling back from people of color, because we do see anti-blackness in that. And it just seems like the lifting of POC often falls on black shoulders. So I more so say black and brown people. I don't get into the BIPOC. Everyone's like BIPOC, black, indigenous, child, black and brown, because other folks within the community that is not black and brown, they might be other shades, other colors, for the reasons the anti-blackness be perpetuated, and even in other communities. But like we just see this anti-blackness within this POC space that makes us feel like it's black against everybody, and or everybody got a problem with black people. Even within POC spaces and affirming spaces, it's always anti-blackness that shows its ugly head. And in this situation, it's anti-black. And yes, Clarence Thomas is a part of that racist, internally insecure, internal racism, as people say. But no, it's anti-blackness. Just call it for what it is. But there's a lot of internal hatred there that manifests. So, like, there's also hypocrisy, right? Because white women benefited from affirmative action more than anybody else. That report's been there forever. We all know that. So, Amy Barrett Coney, girl, you benefited from affirmative action, child. We know you did in more ways than one. Clarence Thomas, shut the fuck up. Like, this is just people who just be doing the most. But honestly, to see Asian people weaponized in this way. So let me be clear. Research proves in studies, because I want to come with the facts, that majority of Asians are in favor of affirmative action. But the conversation is, why did this Supreme Court case has been going on for years, for this fight has been going on for decades. A white man specifically wanted, and he was the lead plaintiff, to be honest, wanted this in the 90s. He's been trying to fight against affirmative action for a long time. The problem is that I guess there were smarter people in the 90s, but that stuff never took leg and never took off. So people were kind of like, child, if you don't go somewhere and sit down. But he realized that he needed to get some people of color to support this. And it had to be people that he could use as an argument. So he found some Asian folks. He literally was like, I need to get some Asians. And he did. He literally got some Asians that he got. He added them to the docket to be plaintiffs. There was some organization created about fairness and some shit. And then there was some studies ran about showing these disproportions of Asian students who didn't get in compared to blacks. It's all this bullshit. And he really made this argument that affirmative action wasn't doing what it was supposed to do, because why are all these Asians not getting admitted and they're supposed to be of color? And then the Asian students who were weaponized, right? They bit the bullet and was like, oh, well, we got this problem. We feeling this. This is how we feel. We need to put some things into high gear. So you had all of these people that were literally being weaponized against other black people, well, against black people. And this is where I get to the anti-blackness part. How come there's all these perceptions that whenever somebody don't get something, whoever the person in the room that got it was black? No one ever questions white people. No one ever questioned anything else in the admissions process. And I wrote a piece back in 2011 that hit the nail on the head on this. I wrote this piece called Affirmative Acceptance that I wrote for the Daily Pennsylvanian. I was a sophomore columnist for the Daily Pennsylvanian. Of course, that was, one of my earlier years. I won my actual first journalism award for that piece. It was the Columbia Scholastic Press Association. They gave me, first place. I was the winner for column writing, and I was a college student. How dope is that? That was my first ever journalism awards. I think I still have that certificate somewhere, but it was a memory. But it was a moment too. And in that piece, which is full circle now, 12 years later, I write that we look at legacy students. Okay, these are students who get in because their parents, their siblings, and others went to the college. There is a special, viewing of them, of those students. A lot of times they apply early decision because that's when they can shoot them in there, right? Then you have people who are, certain athletes, certain programs that they don't carry the same type of academic rigor. Then you have what I call, the bias of the regional bias, right? That a lot of people, because they live in state, they get some perks and preferences in admissions because the admissions got to honor some people from the area. So you'll find, like when I went to Penn, I noticed there were a lot of students from the East Coast, like a lot of students from the East Coast, lots of Philadelphia, lots of New York, lots of Jersey, Like there was a strong East Coast, and I think there's regional bias that play a role in the missions because I'm just like it's so many East Coast people, but like I think that's just part of the queue, right? And maybe there's more applicants from the East Coast, but I say that to say there's so many things, but then also there's what I call pipeline students. They go to what I call pipeline feeder schools. They have feeder programs. When I went to Penn, I realized that there were students who was inserted in programs like Quest Bridge and all these other programs. I can't Posse. There was all these pipeline feeder programs, like I think it was called KIP. There was all these programs that like feeder schools or program. It was either feeder schools or feeder programs. So like they're not the same necessarily. So like you'll get a program like Upward Bound or something like that where there's feeder programs that like specifically set kids up to be in the eyes of a University of Pennsylvania. And you looking back, there was all these like feeder programs that if you went to a high school that was underserving, if you go through this program, they was trying to get you views. Like there's a place called Teen Sharp. A lot of the kids that are a part of Teen Sharp on the East Coast, they go to places like Princeton and Penn and Ivies. They're pipeline programs, and a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of the time, people have to pay, or there's some type of support system or funding that in competition to get kids in those programs in these inner city schools. Then you have the private schools, right? The Horace Manns of the world, the Ingress Erwins, and all these programs where these private schools, where they often, accept kids at Penn. That's a lot of unfair advantages, quote unquote, that no one talks about if they want to talk about unfair advantages, which means that if everything's an unfair advantage, technically isn't really, right? So there's always this conversation about, oh, meritocracy. But it was never about meritocracy. It was anti-black because like I said, I named all these other ways that colleges let people into their admissions program that have nothing to do. And also being fucking rich. I forget, you could be rich and famous too. And if you're super rich, you're going to pay full tuition, your chances of you going is also there too. So here's how affirmative action worked for me. I don't have any of that. I was first generation, college person. I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college in my immediate family. My mother went to college. She graduated years later. She did work. She had kids. She had me. She had her first divorce. She, worked, and then she got, then her job paid for her to finish school and get her degrees. So it's like, she was a non-traditional student. But like, it's interesting, like looking back, the high school I went to was not a high school on the map, in the kind of way where like I didn't have anyone that went to Penn before me. I don't know if there's anybody I have yet to see anybody from my high school, maybe from A-Leaf Elsick, that went to Penn since me. It's like maybe, I don't know. I don't see any A-Leaf. I mean, I don't see A-Leaf Elsick for sure. But like I didn't have any of those connections. I didn't do any programs. I just, was an overachiever. I was somebody who did the work. And so when I hear these people get on air and talk about how, oh my goodness, what did he say? They would say something like, oh, they think they want lower income students, people, but they want people that will actually, not lower the standard, they said, of the school. And they were talking about Black students as if our admission lowers the bar and the standard of the school. How fucking racist is that? And I'm sitting here like, okay, so you really think that anytime you see a Black person, we got in based on some lower standard? Ha. But then the question becomes, where do you define that lower standard? And most of the time, they keep dictating the standard by fucking standardized test scores. And I'm sitting here like, first of all, I did really well on my SAT, ACT, so I don't know why there's this assumption that any Black person you meet, that's the thing. But the fucked up part about it is you're basing this off of these stupid ass quote unquote SAT scores and standards. But like again, that's rigged if you understand why affirmative action mattered. It was intentionally made to confront the systemic institutional racism that created barriers of entry for people that look like me to get in. Now, let's be clear, there's always been black folks that have been exceptional, that in spite of all of the fucking boundaries and barriers, they've been able to still get high SAT scores and ACT scores in spite of everything in front of them. And those people would make it. The problem is that that was unfair because we recognize that everybody else had legs up. And so why do black people have to keep pulling themselves up by the bootstraps to get things that is highly accessible to people? So let me talk about that a little bit. You talk about ACT, SAT scores when you know the education, the public education system do not prepare people for those things. So the people who do well are people with SAT coaches and things. I didn't have that. I had a school, right, a high school that had great SAT, ACT prep books that I had to borrow every fucking week. And you know, it was what it was. I had to literally go and what's that when we had them copy? You know, I had to get a copy machine in my in the computer lab, and I had to literally make copies of these SAT questions and prep things, and I would staple them, and I would have to practice them with staple paper because I could not fucking afford an SAT prep book, but my high school had one. And mind you, it was a little older. It wasn't even new questions. And I had to use and I had to go online. I had to do stuff. But I didn't have money. I didn't come from any money to be able to get a coach. So so imagine the economic disparity, socioeconomic barrier, if you're talking, right? That some of you all can afford to get coaches. And you get to do the test multiple times. Oh, baby, I didn't do the test multiple times. We did it one time. Okay, I didn't get to do it over and over again. My score was going to be my fucking score. Yeah. But you got kids out here with coaches the moment they come in, freshman year. See, I took AP courses, right? That was provided by my high school. So what I did in my AP classes was the most prep I could get for the SAT and the ACT. I actually had to go to school and actually like learn. I had to learn the math. I had to learn the algebra and the geometry. Like I had to actually learn that shit because that was going to help me be the best I could on the test, in addition to whatever I was able to create from my packets. But you think that knowing that there's racial disparity in how people can access that kind of help, you think that should be the determinant to who gets into college and who doesn't? When research already shows that SAT, ACT is like non-material, and that actually when you put black students in higher ed, they succeed really well. When you actually, black women crush it in higher education. Like they are killing it. Like when we get in, a lot of us stay in those schools. Like we do well when we're in the environment, when we have the resources, we succeed. It's getting there that's the fucking hard part. And affirmative action was intended to help alleviate that. And let's be clear, even when affirmative action was in place, you act like there was a bunch of quote unquote dummies in these Ivies. You think that the black people that's there off, you know, with this affirmative action, you think the black and brown people that are there are not smart? Look at your own fucking class, Supreme Court. Like Ketanji Brown, Jackson Brown. You're looking at, you know, well, we don't really claim him, Clarence, but you look at the lot of the folks that are our president, our first lady, our first black president, our black, all of them come from these schools. They all come from these schools, and you're acting like that they didn't come in there succeeding. You want to know what their SAT, ACT scores? Shut the fuck up. Like it's the dumbest argument. It makes no sense. There's no way that you can fathom it. So on behalf of people like me who worked my ass off and got in and could have beat your favorite kid with or without them knowing my racial identity, I want you to recognize that the test score argument is full of shit. So let's talk about the alternatives because there's so much on my agenda. But like the alternatives is that now a lot of colleges are not counting SAT, ACT scores. So now your little argument about like, oh, well, what about lowering the standard? What is other standards? Second of all, a lot of colleges, right, like Penn, these grad schools, they're pulling out of these rankings. Have you noticed that? Like, I think Penn Med pulled out. I think Penn Law is about to pull. Like, a lot of schools are pulling out. These Ivy League schools are pulling out of these rankings because the rankings are also playing a game into like determining its success. You can't determine the success of a school only on what test scores, average scores. You know, it's just a stupid way and metric. So a lot of them are killing the SAT, ACT for admission. They want to look at your grades. They want to look at your essays. They want to know your personality. People, now that affirmative action, quote unquote, is not in effect, trust me, there's other ways people are going to find out. They're going to find out when you, I don't know, you look at their activities and courses. You know, zip codes tell you a lot about the demographic, the likelihood. Like if somebody is in area code 19102 compared to 19139 in Philadelphia, you know the difference between 19102 and 19139. You can guess that there's going to be more black in one of those area codes than another, okay? Zip codes, baby, zip codes. Zip codes will tell you the demographic of a city and neighborhood and tell you racial diversity, okay? You can just do it by zip code. You could also do it by like actual applications, reading essays. Like, trust me, I think a lot of people of color are going to start saying there are people of color in their essays. You can also, you know, the thing is that makes me laugh is that y'all have heard that college admissions have now been looking at people's social media or looking to see things because, you know, stuff has come up. Okay, if they're already doing background checks and looking at pictures, they're gonna find out who you are easily. Okay, please. The schools are gonna do what they're gonna do. You're just taking it out of the language, but schools are gonna maintain diversity regardless. They've been working on this. I think there have been colleges like Penn and others that they're gonna publicly say they respect the Supreme Court's decision because they have to, but they're going to find other ways to do it. The same way that we had the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and you all remember how we thought that job discrimination and racial discrimination was just not going to happen anymore because, you know, we got this law. But there's always have been, sadly or unsadly, depending on how you look at it, there's always been loopholes in the process, right? Names, you look at certain names. Oh, this is so-and-so with Latoya with an asterisk Mark Jackson, they're going to assume that person's black. This is Gabrielle Sanchez, hypothetically. Okay, Gabrielle Sanchez, you're thinking Latinx, right? Oh, this is Jen Yu. But that last name, Yu, okay, Asian, right? People are going to look and know. But fine, do it on some moral crusade. Win the whatever the culture war you want to win, but it's over. It's a wrap. That's why I wasn't worried about. I'm personally not worried about it. Gay rights is gutted. Now there's an argument in the Supreme Court that says that, you know, certain people can say they don't want to serve gay people or LGBTQIA people because it's against their religious views based on a bogus hypothetical case that did not actually happen. Just stretching, talking about website design. This never was an actual, the whole decision was based off of a hypothetical, bogus, non-actually happening case that is really weird and bizarre within itself that the Supreme Court would even take it. But honestly, what it's saying is that basically they reinforced that companies can basically discriminate LGBTQI people using the religious argument. They're going to walk themselves into a sticky situation. I can already see the stickiness that once again, your right to religion is now able to infringe upon my rights as an American, as a taxpayer. And see, the crazy part for me is that with homophobia, institutionalized homophobia and transphobia, is that the arguments for religion. But the argument to me is this, like, it does not infringe upon your religious beliefs. You're not allowed to have racist beliefs. I mean, this country is going to use everything under their power to justify with religion, but it's like, it's not against your religion to do something like this if you're working in a public space. See, that's the difference between public and private space. If you are working in public society, in public life, You can't discriminate people based on anything. And sexuality being used as the religious argument, there's a lot of things that you can do based off it. You can arguably say, I don't want to support unmarried women. I don't want this facility to be with women who have babies out of wedlock because that goes against my religious belief. You're going to create a line where everybody can use something against their religious belief. You're going to really create a situation. So you're going to tell a restaurant they can't serve. A server says, "Look, I can't serve you pork because it goes against my, Muslim belief." So the person at the restaurant, the server, did not want to serve the person because the person requested pork on the menu. Like, what do you? I mean, there's an endless line of fuckery that is going to happen based off of the religious argument that is bigger than sexuality, and I don't think people are seeing it. But you better wake up because there's a lot of things that people can use. I mean, you're looking at where we're going with abortion. We're looking at where we're going with certain women's rights. It's going to impact women. It's going to impact Black and brown people. It's clearly impacting queer people. They're setting up the language and the rationale and the precedent to discriminate elsewhere. But for some reason, interracial relationship has not been there because Jenny and fucking Clarence Thomas, they're out here being the insurrection couple. So they're not, they're like, look, we're not touching Loving versus Virginia, right? Although we're going to keep that. But everything else we're going to fuck with, right? But who knows? Because Clarence, he the type that's always a hypocrite. He going to always do something to support a conservative branch because he feels like they're the ones who had his back when his career was almost ruined, should have been, for what happened with Anita Park. I mean, not Anita Park, Anita Hill. But this is what happens, Speaking of which, people have been sending me this video that Trump arrived the day that this happened on that Friday, that last day of Pride, which was a disaster emotionally. Trump went to Pat's. And there's been debates about whether or not Pat should have, Trump going and this, that, and third. So I reached out to the owner of Pat's Action. I asked him about why he just, what was that about? Because the Philadelphia Inquirer had said that it was, how did they describe it? They described it as what did they say? They said it was a pre-arranged event, which I was trying to figure out, was it pre-arranged from Pat's or was it pre-arranged from Secret Service? It was confusing. Well, hearing it, so let me back up. So there's two cheesesteak places that I'm not crazy about. Pat's and Geno's. Now, people are like, oh, I'm not surprised at Pat's, but you should be surprised. Let me explain. So Geno's was notorious for the racist history there, the speak English, sign that was outside the restaurant that was fucking problematic. They had a motorbike store that was right across that they had, and one of the motorcycles had the Confederate flag on it, a sticker on the motorcycle. They just, like the vibes that they've defended it, it's been very problematic. Well, Pat's across the street has been very different in their approach. They have a sign that says, come anywhere, speak anywhere. Like, it was welcome to everybody. They was an alternative place. So if you had to pick between cheesesteak places that aren't necessarily the best, people would choose Pat's because Pat's was always more politically astute. Now, we know South Philly was the place that gave Trump the most votes in Philly. But in spite of the racist undertones and outward tones of South Philly, Pat's, if you was comparing, politics, Pat's is affirmative. Now, Trump went to Geno's back in 2016. He went to Geno's, Trump did. But Pat's at the time was like, made it clear his views were not aligned with Trump's, and like pretty much was kind of like playing with Trump, like, nah, I'm good on it. I don't want this, I don't want that. But he played, and he used to always, be like, he don't want that kind of energy. So it was, to me, shocking that Trump went to Pat's, because I was trying to figure out what was going on. Basically, I talked to the Pat's owner, the owner of Pat's Cheesesteaks, and he said back that they try to be politically neutral, but to be clear, they don't align, their values and do not align with Trump's. And he said that he did not plan or coordinate with them, that was all the troopers and the Social Security, not Social Security, the Secret Service, all of those people, like they all did this coordination on their own. Now, had it been a current sitting president like Biden, everybody on that floor, in that strip, would have been notified They may have not would have told them where he was going to be, but if it was Biden, they would have said, okay, Biden's going to be here. They have to make sure they block off the streets and coordinate everything for the president. But they would have not known where he was going to go, but they knew he was going to go somewhere. But that's if you're the current sitting president. Trump has went when he was not an elected official. So the parameters are a little bit different. But he comes up there, he's there, clearly he's there to fuck with them. Clearly he makes this whole a big old show at Pat's and just hypes it. And he knows what he's doing because Trump's a mastermind when it comes to shit like that. He knew what he was doing. My frustrations though was that they never put out a public statement. They really haven't addressed it. They just kind of are like trying to like let it go. Pat says. And I kind of feel like, this idea around political neutrality at a time like this, the fact that Trump was there for the Moms at Liberty, Moms at Liberty, he was there for that conference and all that crap that weekend. And then he, showed up to Pat's the same day, which was the same day all these Supreme Court rulings had happened, these devastating rulings. This was all just like they celebrated in Philadelphia. And there was resistance, let me be clear. But there was a lot of places and institutions that did not exercise that resistance. And I'm just like, at this point, where this country is literally one heartbeat away from going into fascism, and people are just casually treating this shit like it's like, oh, neutrality. Like, how do you are neutral with white supremacists and fascists? I don't know how you can how you can be neutral politically with that. Like, there was no civility there. Like, you can only do peace in civility. There's no way that you can have peace in uncivil space. I don't get it. I don't think people understand what they're talking about. I just think people need to say they're being complicit and go back to complicit bed. Seriously. Speaking of complicit bed and being a shit show, Yusuf Salim, who is one of the Central Park Five, these past 2 weeks, officially won the Democratic primary for city council in Harlem. And my good bestie, Abel, who I saw in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is showing love. He has moved to Harlem with his girlfriend. So they're in Harlem now. And so this man is going to be looking like he's going to be his future city council person. Now, for people who don't remember Yusuf Salif, he is a part of the Exonerated Five. I said Central Park Five so you can, what happened in Central Park Five, but it's the Exonerated Five. He's a smart brother. Definitely a full circle moment to see how Trump has failed and how he's propelled. And it's interesting because Trump really don't bang in New York as much anymore. And just look at that full circle moment. Like, life is those types of karma. That type of karma is just speechless. Love it. So in Philly, a lot was going on in Philly. There was a mass shooting on around 4th of July. Big talk of the town. People are debating whether or not it was a black trans woman who did the shooting. 4 people was dead. It started in a house, and they came out to the street and shot people, and 3 people lost their lives. The person has been immediately taken into custody. Apparently, they live a life where they're dressing up as a woman. People think it could be a trans woman. It's been things, but they're identified as a man when they was arrested and arraigned. And it's been a lot of interesting news. But I always tell people in these times when these things happen, this is like a second major shooting that involves someone of a trans experience in the past couple of months. We try to act like it's a pattern or a trend, and I hate that when news media do that. I don't think it is. I think that people are out here. The problem here is guns. The problem here is access to all these guns. This person used a ghost gun, which is really scary because a lot of the guns that we've been hearing about have been guns that have been purchased. And the truth of the matter is that I don't, I'm still wrapping my mind around how I feel about gun control. I mean, clearly we need tougher gun control laws. Let me just be clear on that. But I don't know if the answer is everybody's guns need to be taken away. I know a lot of people feel that way. But I think for me, what I think is the immediate thing is that we notice certain patterns. We got to get assault rifles off, period. I don't think no American living in civil society needs an assault weapon. I think we also need to we need to enforce certain gun caps on guns. I think we need to do a better, we need to kill and cut the ability of people to buy gun pieces on the market. Like you can get them on Amazon, people can get them on certain, gun shows and shit. We gotta close those loopholes. Like we gotta shut it. Like the fact that people have the ability to buy pieces to create guns in their own homes, then that's how you get a ghost gun, right? These are not guns that are being created and being sold on the market. These people are getting pieces, different pieces, and creating the guns. And these pieces are being sold at gun shows. We need to kill that. Like, you have to buy a full gun. You cannot, and you have to buy guns, and you can't buy guns on the internet. You cannot buy guns online. You have to go somewhere and you have to show a fucking license to get a gun. And every gun needs to be traced. But we need to eliminate, magazine and assault rifles and shit. I just don't understand who needs to be living. Like, when have we ever? The crazy part is we've never need to live in a world where we have. Those are guns are made for mass killing. Those are army, military style guns. Like, what are we doing? What do we need a gun like that? Why does anyone need to buy a gun like that? Unless you're doing something you ain't supposed to be doing. So that needs to be cut. We need to just cut all of it. And then we need to, to incentivize people. We do massive tax breaks, tax cuts for people who give up guns. So let's say you have an assault rifle on you. Give it up and you get a tax break, like a real tax break. Give a massive tax cut to people who give up the ones who currently have them. If they turn them in, give them a stupid tax cut. Like let them treat it like it's like giving up my assault rifle is like claiming a dependent on my taxes. That kind of benefit. Like if they get like make up to 5. Like if you have 5 assault weapons that you bought before we do the assault weapon ban, let's actually treat them as dependents on your taxes, and you can claim them like kids and get massive tax cuts. Yeah. Give people real incentive, because this whole gun buyback program shit. Have you ever gone to those? A lot of y'all probably have not, but in Philly, I've covered some gun stuff in the years. I went to some of these gun buyback programs. Grandma is coming up in there with like old school little musket type of, well, not muskets, but they coming in with these old school 1970 pistols, and I'm like, first of all, baby, you ain't even got no bullets in there. But thank you for giving up the gun, baby. But like, people shooting with them old school. These are guns that are not the guns, y'all. We be thinking they're guns. These like little pistols. These 1980 shotguns that ain't got nothing in them. But guns, listen. But as much guns we take off. But there's gun buyback programs. But these guns ain't even. These are old guns, child. These are not the guns on the streets. I want people to give people tax breaks and tax cuts for turning in those type of guns. And then maybe, if a young person has a gun and they had no business with it, but they decide to turn it in, give them some type of incentive, give them some real money, give them a credit or something, $500 something. But like, we start doing it where we paying, like we doing real stuff. Like, okay, if you live in a hot, I would say, like, if you live in a hot gun violence zip code and you give up a gun, an actual active gun, we should give $500 tax. Like, make it like it's like, get these guns off the streets. Because for every bullet in those guns, that's a life. That's a risk of a life. What do I know? That's my solution to gun violence. For what I know. I mean, there's more to talk about, but I'm just like, when people be talking a lot of this stuff, I'm just like, that's where my head is at. Like, if you really want to have a serious ground plan, I mean, because I'm not 100% so on take all the guns off the planet. People are never going to buy that, right? And black folks people are not going to buy that. But I do believe there's ways to have bigger control, better controls, right? Just better controls. And if your child, and then put a law in that if your child gets your gun, you are liable. That there is some responsibility, there is some penalty, whether it's a fine, depending on the nature, if it's whatever it is. If your underage child gets access to your gun, you should get a penalty. you should get a penalty. Either you get a fine, I'm not trying to put everybody in jail, but you should get a fine or some type of, depending on the nature of what is the case, you should be partially responsible and legally liable. Because then that's how we can get people to start taking that shit seriously. You know how funny it is how people can treat their cars, where they make sure their cars have their license inspections, and we make sure that they have to go by the protocol, and if they don't, we know that your car can get towed. How come we don't make these penalties of people whose parents or whomever have these guns, and they're just out here leaving them on counters and tables or shit like that? No, you got to be responsible for your weapon, and you gotta pay the price for the consequences that come from you if you want to have a weapon like that after we do real gun control laws. I'm serious. We got to incentivize higher and we have to penalize harder. There you go. And no, I'm not running for office. Twitter, this social media stuff. There's been so much going on there, but I want to get to that later. I want to because there's some updates on that. I want to talk about this Essence Fest mess that happened. So Essence Fest, of course, happened while we was on hiatus. There's been a lot of talk about Essence Fest, the direction, the future, where people want to go, what people want to do with Essence. It's a big auntie festival, but now it seems like they want to make it more, they want to get out of it being the big auntie festival for the aunties. They want to make it something a little bit more modern and hip for daughters and mothers and various people outside the auntie group. Mixed reviews on that. But I'm here to talk about one particular issue as an author with Essence Fest. I saw some good friends of mine that went to Essence, did a good thing. They came out there, they book out Love. My girl, Sheena Hubbard, she promoted Ride or Die. She did some good work selling her book out there, pushing them units, as we call it in business. But there was some drama because, Essence tried to threaten the cease and desist on this Black-owned bookstore called Baldwin and Company, Baldwin and Co., which is inspired by, of course, James Baldwin, the icon. Local Black-owned bookstore, very popular in New Orleans. And basically, they want to do a Black author showcase of their own thing, during, Essence Fest. And it wasn't at Essence Fest because Essence Fest do their own author showcase and stuff. But their whole situation is like inside, very top tier. A couple of people get selected, not everyone does. It's very specific about how they promote the book and how they promote books and what authors they pick. And oftentimes, a lot of it is Black women. So people like me, I don't even submit for Essence Fest because I kind of know, hey, as a Black man, as a person in space, it's not my, I'm not the target audience. Now, Black women love my book, but I recognize, this for the sisters. So let the sisters have a moment, right? So I get that. I don't try to compete or anything. But the Black Author Showcase, I almost considered doing it actually at Baldwin and Company then. My team reached out to them and we were like, well, we could go to Essence Fest and just kind of rock out and just be at the, be a part of that, but also be here to do the book showcase at Baldwin. I thought that was like a vibe. Well, Essence, the morning of that book event at that book showcase at Baldwin and Company, they slapped down the cease and desist letter and basically tried to do some copyright, likelihood, and this confusing people. And it's like giving people the impression it's Essence Fest and it's not, da, da, da. Honestly, nobody thought that, boo. I don't know anybody who thought that showcase, which was not even like that promoted, it was very internally local and within, I don't see how anybody could have thought that. But as a result of that cease and desist, they had to cancel the event that day, which, as you all know, I wasn't going to New Orleans, and I didn't because I'll be at Baldwin and Company. I've been there and I've showed love. I've been there. I've never been inside, but I'll be there for my book tour later this month. So if you looked at my National Summer Book Tour, I will be there Wednesday, July 26th at 6:30. Okay, at Baldwin and Company bookstore, which is at 1030 Elysian Fields Avenue in New Orleans. I'll be there, and that will be on a Wednesday. So I'll be there then, right? And it's my own thing. I'm doing my own signing. It's my own thing. So that was a blessing. But we were initially going to go to the other one to be a part of Essence Fest, but the calendar was too much going on the calendar, clearly. And also, it was Fourth of Jabarkis weekend, so that wasn't happening. I think that's why I didn't do it. And then also my good girl Amanda and Joe, the newly engaged, they were moving in that week, and so it was a lot going on that weekend. It didn't make sense. But like that was me, protection, like rejection. Even though I wasn't rejected, but like rejecting something is also could be protecting something. So we rejected the do it then, but we was protecting clearly our sanity. Because if I would have been there, I would have walked up to Essence myself, would have said was good. But let me say about this bookstore, they were incredible. They fought back. That weekend, a lot of great authors, including myself, Nicole Hannah Jones, Gary Chambers, who I don't normally care about any other day, but the one who ran for Senate, all that, he called it out on social. His post went viral. Everybody just came in from that community, like Black journalists and writers that just kind of called it out, online and said, hey, what are y'all doing? Like, how are you all an event that's invested in Black excellence and all this jazz, but then you're doing stuff like this? Like, I don't get it. Like, how do you do something like that? Like, I'm just processing it. Like, how do you just, you're in a city that has a rich Black historical history. That's part of the reason why you chose to have it there. And then you're penalizing the Black businesses that are trying to, you know, rightfully so, have economic impact because of your presence. Like, are the only people that's supposed to make money in this event in this town during that time is Essence? Like, I just felt it was stupid. Well, they fought hard and called it out, and a lot of people showed love, like myself and others. And basically, the court dismissed it. Essence ended up dropping the whole thing clearly. But it's just like that just left a sour taste. Then I heard about vendors who set up during, Essence this year that this wasn't seeing the sales. Like they did venues, vendors and stuff, festivals, and the way it was designed, they wasn't getting traffic or getting people to see their stuff and they wasn't making money. It was just a very interesting Essence Fest across the board. People talked about the art, the entertainment, the whole missed opportunity. There was a woman who I saw on social. She's like a political consultant. She does a lot of organizing work. She was just saying how like they bring Kamala out and it's like very flat. There's all these like corny economic talks about money and finance. It's the Black excellence, blah blah blah. It's the conversations, but like there was not enough conversations about election, mobilizing people to vote, making sure, people understand. Like Kamala would just come up and tell people to vote on the most basic level, but there was no direct tools and real strong resources. It was just the folksy, like people come out to this stuff and it's like they're not maximizing the opportunity to empower people. Like this is a strong base of women. And I guess, some could argue maybe Black women already know they vote, so they don't feel like they have to do it on that kind of level. But it just could have been more. And it just seemed like it was a missed opportunity from this Black woman who had went. I've never been to Essence Fest, but, I mean, I just feel like it's just getting too corporate. I personally feel like it's getting a little too corporate for my taste. I feel like it's a lot of that going on. What do I know? But, we'll see. But all I know is I'll be at Baldwin and Company later this month in July. Looking forward to it. New Orleans, where you at? I'll also be there the same week. I'm going to be in town the same week as the Taste of the Cocktail, which is this national cocktail like festival. I guess the best way to describe it is like a big, huge convention festival cocktail, week. It's the biggest in the country, and it's going to be in New Orleans, and I'll be there on one of the days. The day of my book signing, it's going to be landing at the same time as this event, this whole week long festival. So I will be there. If you are people I know there's some Philly love coming through for that weekend. So all of my cocktail connoisseurs, folks that's going to be going to the Taste of the Cocktail in New Orleans, hey, before you go out drinking that night, stop by my book signing, and then I'll probably see you out there and get me some cocktails. And then I'm on a flight next thing in the morning, Houston, H-Town, baby. I'm coming back. It's homecoming. I'll be back for the remainder of that weekend in Houston, Barnes and Noble, Town and Country. I'll see y'all there the next day on the 27th on a Thursday for the signing, and then I'll be there Friday, and I'm gonna head out Saturday because I'm gonna get ready for Martha's Vineyard the following 2 weeks. But anyway, lucky for that. Excited about that. So a lot of you asked me about former mayor, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio and his wife Charlene McCray. They're separated, but they're not divorced. But there's been this conversation on ethical non-monogamy. Now, see, a lot of you all do not know about them. People are shocked, but then I'm not shocked because I do research and I've known a lot about her. She's a big deal in her own right. I don't think a lot of people read enough about Miss Charlene McCray, but Miss Charlene McCray is an old school black feminist. Okay, the Combahee Water tribe she was a part of. She was one of the early members. This was a radical black feminist. It was the Combahee Water Collective, is what they called themselves, not tribe. But there was the Combahee Water Collective, which was this black, really, really black women, lesbian, feminist movement. Back in the 60s, in the 70s. The heart of it was in the 70s. And their statement that they put out, their opening statement that they published at the time to explain their why they came together is legendary because they basically felt like the women's movement at that time in the 70s was very much fixated on cishet white women. And they was like, this isn't the womanhood or the movement that they cared for. Womanist was born at that time. That terminology was around that time. But she was a part of that. And, I think Essence back then covered her. And to be queer, like that was like, nearly 50 years ago. This woman lived that life, who was a very different person. To see her married somebody like Bill de Blasio, how did that happen? They have kids and people was wondering, okay, is she bisexual? Is it whatever? But the way that she framed it back then, when De Blasio got elected, the first terms, she said, I'm married to him and that's who I'm with right now. That, but she said she wasn't dead, or she said something along the line. So in other words, she was like, look, I'm faithful to my husband and I'm with my husband, but to also be clear, I'm not blind. I still basically like she still has attraction to the same sex. While also, she's bi or queer or fluid, but that's her life. So when they announced that they was breaking up, I was like, well, they were separated, but they were still married. And they were going to go see other people, which, part of me wonders, did we need to know all of that? But then I also feel like that they probably want to get ahead of this because hey, like if we see Miss Charlene out here at the Pride events with another woman, they'll make it scandal, right? So I do think sometimes public figures at that stature, they have to tell us a little bit more if things are going to be very different. And I think Charlene wants to live her life, baby. Not to say that she wasn't living her life before when she was married, but she, probably, she wants to do some different things. I have various thoughts. I wouldn't be surprised if before they got public, like as elected, like when he was before he decided to be mayor, I'm not surprised if they were already doing something like this or they had like this little thing. I don't know. This conversation about ethical non-monogamy. I mean, part of me. Listen, listen, see here, I'm gonna get in trouble. It's not for me. For me. But for other people, some people feel like that's what they do. And I'm not judging them. Now, people say, how is this ethical? Ethical non-monogamy is a situation where two people, consenting adults, both agree that they can have other sexual partners. Now, some people have different understandings. Like people think polyamorous. This is not polyamory. Polyamory is when the people and those partners are all together in they're dating. Like the person is dating multiple people together. Like they're doing this together, like a polygamy sect. And I'm not getting in the business of judging people on how they decide to do these things. But for me, it's just something different. It's something very different. And so strategy matters. All of these things matter. And a lot of people are not putting these things in full retrospect. So I always tell people that monogamy does matter to a certain extent, but we'll see. Like let me clarify. Like I'm monogamous. Me and Mr. Johnson are only sleeping with each other, and that's it. And that's all we want to do. I think for us, I mean, at least for me, well, I don't know how to be able to be in a fully committed relationship and sleep with other people and not catch feelings and want to be involved. That's just me. I don't know how to do that. Even when I was single and I was trying to mingle, it was hard to try to date and not break. If you get what I'm saying. Like it was hard to just like at some point you can only hook up so many times before you just kind of feel like, or at least for me, you get to the point where you hook up so many times where you're just kind of like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, how do I make this work? Because that's just not how I'm programmed. But there are some people that can be like, look, I can sleep with 5 different people in a month and not catch any feelings, and or I could be in a relationship, be married to somebody, and sleep with people outside the relationship and not catch feelings and nothing. But I don't know how to do that. I don't personally know how to do that, and it's just I just think, less is more over here when it comes to partners. But some people, they have understandings that are very different and create non traditional relationships, and it just works for them. And so, you know, it works for them. But I will say this, and this is why the word ethical matters. There are some people out here that live acting single relationships. They're in relationships where there's two people, they're dating. They're out here doing whatever they want to do with whoever they want, but the person they're in the relationship with is not aware of that. And then there's a situation where they get quote unquote caught, and then the narrative goes, "Oh, I didn't expect people to do X, Y, and Z things. I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't expect for people to do whatever. I didn't expect, they tell the partner, oh, well, this is my views. It's like you're dropping these views in the middle of a relationship. You didn't have these terms before. That's some cowardly shit. Or they'll tell the person, we got to understand it. Me and my partner understand it when they tell it to a person they cheated on. They tell the other girl, oh, well, you got a girl, so, I don't want to talk to you. No, me and my girl got to understand. But you and the girl don't have an understanding, right? You didn't tell your partner. You didn't tell, well, I don't like the word partner. Okay, sorry, I don't like the word partner, but it works here. I like to just say girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever you're dating. But hypothetically, we're not going to put a gender, so we don't know who the partner is. Anyway, the partner don't know. The partner may not know in that dynamic, in that situation. So you got to make sure communication. So this is ethical. They're consenting adults. Look, if they like it, I love it. Everybody's aware of what's going on. I'm here for it. It's the monogamous, it's the non-monogamous relationship that has no communication for me. I remember years ago, I talked to this boy when I was in college, child. And that's when I first, and I was a very listen, I think I was so turned off of non-monogamy relationships and polyamorous relationships because of what happened to me. And sometimes we can project. So I'm not judging folks that do this shit consensually and ethically. But I remember I was with somebody and I found out some stuff and they were like, oh, well, yeah, you thought I was just with you. I'm like, yeah, I actually thought you were just with me. Actually, I actually thought you were. And the fact that you didn't even communicate that to me and we were doing different things, let me just leave it at that. What the fuck? So it's like nowadays, it's like you got to ask people up front. You can't assume monogamy on anybody nowadays. Not in this generation, at least. You got to ask people up front. So what type of relationship style are you into? Because everything about you was so cool, calm, and collected, and you cute. But like, what kind of relationship situation you in? You got to ask these questions nowadays. Just saying. So that's there. Briefly, Mayor Adams. Oh my God. New York mayor's cutting up. Philly mayor, he just not here. He abandoned father and just neglected us. But there's some narrative that he is lying. He out here allegedly lying about a cop friend that he had. His team got an old photo with some coffee on it to make it look like it's older than what it was. He got caught. The press is dragging him. I don't know what's up with Eric Adams, child. I just, it's giving lie. It's giving press. It's giving trying too hard. What the fuck are you doing? Like the last black mayor in New York, which was back in the 90s, Rudolph Giuliani did a number on that man. And I feel so sorry. He was really from Jersey. My husband always reminds me of this. But I'm just like, Eric, what are you doing? We don't need this. And this man, if he doesn't get reelected, child, I don't blame them. Like, not all black is there. Sometimes it can be whack. Sometimes Eric Adams proves that sometimes black can crack, and it starts with him. Other things. We've arrived. Twitters versus Threads versus Spill versus Blue Sky. I am so sick of you all with these apps. Leave me alone. Listen, I had to finally cave into one and let go of another. So, like last week, Twitter did some crazy thing for one day, which was so stupid. Is we're gonna limit the number of tweets to 600. You can watch only 6,000 views if you're unverified or whatever, 600 views or scrolls, and they're gonna block the account for the day or something. It was some stupid thing, and honestly, I think it was a system glitch that rather than Elon own that the technology and infrastructure is fucking failing, he decided to pivot to some experiment that they're doing to piss people off. And I think he thought it was going to be a way for him to try to force this paid subscriber verification shit, which everyone doesn't want to do. No one wants to pay for anything on social media. So this happens, and then of course there's a group of people that want to do a mass exodus. Fuck around and find out. Everybody like, it's time to go, y'all. So there was this interest initially with this app called, it was called Spill. It's allegedly, it's black owned, but it's not for just black people. Clarity, because there was some controversy, right? Initially, people thought this was a space that was going to be black and queer focused. That was going to be for us. It was going to be our backyard. Well, the owners of this app, which are from some old, formerly employed Twitter higher up folks, they used to be their developers and folks. They came up with this app, and the first, let me process, because I got so many thoughts about this stupid app. I'm not on Spill. Don't plan to be on Spill. Look, let me just put it this way. They came out the gate just letting people know, it's not just for black people. We want different communities, this and this. Why you gotta say that? Why you feel like you gotta say that? I don't know. I feel like it's always, anytime something's for black people, there's some black folks that really want to act like they're everything and everything all at once, which is like, I guess. So they pushing it that way. But their advisors, which was a big red flag, was April Rain. She's the person who created the Oscar So White hashtag, I guess. But really the big red flag was DeRay McKesson, which used to be, Jack Dorson's little pet for forever. Was like always, he had 1 million followers, and then that million number instantly dropped when they started, switching over leadership. But for whatever reason, he stayed at 1 million for like multiple years. That's weird. Like if you have a following like his, it's supposed to increase. It just stayed at 1 million. I never felt like he never had those 1 million followers. I felt like the number was just set in the system for him. That's my opinion. But anywho, he is consulting on that, and I don't trust that. Everything about it just seems to me to be extra for no reason. There's like a code that you need to get on. People are having issues getting in the system. It just looks like a mess. And also, as an Android, Team Android, they don't have it set up for Android yet. So only people on Apple can get this app. Well, you missed me there. Bye. So, not using Spill. Now, Blue Sky, I had got told about a couple of weeks ago when everyone allegedly was supposed to leave Twitter. And then, all these other things happened. So I was like, okay, Blue Sky seems promising. A lot of people was getting on Blue Sky at first, but like it just never really hit it for me. I got an account, but it just seemed like there was no energy there, no traffic there. Then last week, just days ago, Threads. Zuckerberg put out Threads, which is supposed to be the ultimate Twitter killer, they're alleging. Over 70 million people have this account, a Threads account, which is connected to Instagram. And sidebar, if you decide right now that you want to end your Threads account, you will also be forfeiting your Instagram account because they're now interconnected. So the same followers, you can convert your followers from Instagram to Threads. And by the way, to my special blue check folks, verified. If you're verified on Instagram, you're automatically verified on Threads. So here's what I did. I created a Threads account. I deactivated, I took the Blue Sky. I didn't deactivate my Blue Sky account because you just never know what can happen out here. But I just uninstalled the app. So the app is no longer on my page, period. It's just not on my page anymore. On my it's not my phone. I just uninstalled the app. So there's no Blue Sky. Bye. So let go of Blue Sky. Done with Blue Sky for now. Never got into Spill. Don't plan to get into Spill. So let's talk about Threads. Let's talk about Twitter. So as far as Threads go right now, it's boring, y'all. It's boring. It's boring. I know they say there's all these people on there. People are getting on there. I will say that there is a very clear, people are coming to Threads, and it's time it's going to take. But people are already like, oh, this is going to be the end of Twitter. Honestly, I don't think so. I think I'm going to rock with Twitter until the wheels fall off. I am one of the descendants of Black Twitter. I am Black Twitter. I am the people. I am one of the voices, a part of this. I've given this app more than 10 years of my life. I love Twitter. Twitter is my favorite app. And I know it has problems, and I know Elon Musk is trash, but they're going to have a new CEO soon, and maybe she's going to be a lot better than this dumpster fire. But he's finally going to let go of his reign. And honestly, everybody keeps saying that they're leaving, but then they somehow show up again for the Kiki stuff, which we'll get to later in the podcast. But I'm just like, it's obvious to me that everybody's not fully committed to leaving. That's what I'm realizing. Everybody is not fully done with Twitter. They may not be fully invested as much, but they're still there. They're still there. They're lying. They have writer accounts. They're watching it. First of all, Twitter is on a high right now. I don't know. I find it funny. I think Twitter is still funny. Twitter is still newsworthy. The issue with these other apps is that you have to have drama. And I'm not saying bullying. Like, one thing I'll say about Threads is that Threads is the only time I've been on an app with no protections and everyone's acting respectful right now. Because here's the thing. If you fuck up on Threads, you're going to lose not only your Threads account, you're going to lose your Twitter account. No. You're going to lose your Instagram account. I'm sorry. You're going to lose both accounts. You fuck around on Threads, you're losing both of your accounts because they're connected. Now, they say that eventually they're going to create a way to separate the two. But for now, that's how they're getting people. Because you can't opt out. That's the other thing. You can't opt out. So if you opt out, you lose your Instagram account. Thought about that? Anybody thought about that? That right now, there's no escape button. So even though I think Threads is boring right now, I can't leave it. Because if I leave it, I have to forfeit my Instagram account. I don't mind. I'm a social media darling. I'll just have Threads and then will just sit there on red. But the fact that so when people are talking about these numbers being juiced up, it's like part of the reason why is because you can't actually opt out. You're going to sabotage your Instagram account being on Threads. But you have to be invested in it enough. I just think Threads need to have a moment. If Threads really wants to be the go-to app to beat Twitter, they have to get enough institutions to be interested. And like, Biden needs to create on it. The White House needs to go in there. There needs to be exclusive content. Like Beyonce needs to go in there and say, I have an announcement on Threads. And everybody gonna get on Threads, right? Like Taylor Swift needs to go on Threads. And Taylor Swift needs to announce something, special on Threads that's not on Twitter. Like, you have to have buy-in moment. You have to have a newsworthy moment. Like, I need to hear somebody say, this went viral on Threads. This is a moment on Threads. Like, the way that the Shade Room, like, people have made a life, like, screenshotting tweets. Like, I can screenshot a tweet and put it on Instagram and get thousands of views and then convert them into hundreds of followers. Like, there is something, Twitter has something, the news generation of Twitter in connection to the ability and accessibility of celebrities and communication and commentary. Like, that's what makes Twitter special compared to anywhere else. Like, you can't get this type of engagement. The only place that does that kind of engagement close to it is Instagram. But every other app that's come, They haven't been able to have that new generation piece, and that's why they don't sustain. They become a fad. Vine died like that. I think about Snapchat. Like Snapchat's just there. TikTok is slowly but surely beginning to fade out. Like people are fading out of TikTok. Like TikTok is still around, but I just feel like I told y'all this day was gonna come. Clubhouse had a moment, y'all, and then Clubhouse just fumbled the bag on so many levels. Fumbled an opportunity. There was something special. Clubhouse had a moment, and it could have sustained, but it just became dumpster fire too fast. Because I realized that basically Clubhouse was nothing but the most ratchet Twitter people that just had opportunity in the soapbox to speak, and then we realized we don't really like reading those tweets in person as much as we want to hear it audio wise. So Clubhouse has definitely found its plateau. But Threads has potential because of who Mark Zuckerberg is. So I'm never going to sleep on that. But I want to tell y'all a story. In 2011, okay, it was a summer. It was my sophomore year. I was, in Philly, first Philly summer. And there was a new app in town from a major multi-billion-dollar tech company, and it was going to change everything. And the girls were like, this is over for Facebook, because people were starting to have their early concerns about Facebook. But they were like, this is it for Facebook, because this platform, this new platform is going to integrate everything we need already, and we already have the accounts, and so we all got it and installed it, and we all was there the first week, and we did 10 video chats, and then a week later it was like, this is kind of boring, and I don't really get what this is. I'm just gonna stay with Facebook. Her name was Google Plus. Haha. Remember Google Plus? Google Plus was supposed to change the game, y'all. Like, as an Androider, okay, as a person who has an Android phone and had Gmail, I love Gmail, by the way. It was supposed to be the easy breezy conversion. Like, okay, you got your emails, you got this app, you got this social media platform. You don't need Facebook anymore, right? That's what we thought. And then now, 12 years later, we're still on Facebook. Now, Facebook ain't the hottest growing in town, but Zuckerberg has created other things. And now we don't need, Google Plus finally died like last year. They finally decided, okay, it's a wrap. We need to kill this thing. They finally killed Google Plus. But yeah, no one ever got on it. So I feel like Threads, the verdict is still out on Threads. The verdict is still out. Now, we know people really hate Twitter, but the people who already hated Twitter, who don't like Twitter, like, I'm not surprised that y'all trying to recreate a new life on Threads. I see all these old heads on here like, I'm on Threads, this is gonna be a thing. I'm like, no, it's not, y'all. I don't think it is. I'm not convinced. But I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong. But I just don't see it. There just has to be other things going on. But I did create the Threads account because I was able to keep verification, and I do like the fact that I was able to recover a lot of followers very quickly. Still more have to come because I'm not fully there yet, but we're going to see where it's going to go. That's my take on that. Michael Rubin threw an all-white Hamptons party. I'm, whatever. I just feel like, yeah. Okay, Rubin. Rich guy, billionaire guy, everybody's all in love, everybody's taking pictures, super rich. Beyonce, Jay-Z came. Shout out to them for not allowing themselves to be all up in the videos, all exploited in the promo video he does to show off his party. They literally took one photo, and that's the only photo we saw of them. Shout out to them for doing that. That was. I mean, I guess billionaires are being billionaires, whatever. I'm just not impressed with Mike Rubin. I just feel like it's the rich white billionaire guy who wants to feel cool, so he gets a bunch of black rappers that he likes, and he invites all these celebrities and models and stuff to feel like he's cool. It's like cool people want to be cool people, like he's, All right, Keke Palmer and Darius Dalton. Listen, this has been talked about a lot, so I'm not going to get into too much around the backstory, more than a lesson that needs to be learned here. So Darius Dalton, he is a brother of an actor who's on Insecure. He met Keke Palmer a couple years back at a party related to the Insecure. No pun intended, but look at him. Darius Dalton himself, I don't really know what he do. I think he wants to be an actor like his brother, but his brother clearly has the career. Kiki dated him. Kiki's always been like into like no high profile relationships. She liked the little low key stuff. She got with this guy. They were cute. They had little moments. And then she got pregnant, and then things changed. She had got pregnant. She had the baby earlier this year. Baby's adorable. I believe Darius Dalton is Philly bound or Philly connected, and they think he may be from Philly. He's a super Eagles fan, according to his former Instagram account, which he doesn't have anymore. But Kiki, ever since she had the baby, she bounced back. She looks good. She's got a booty. She, motherhood looking great on her. She's just looking good. Kiki looks good. Kiki's always looked good to me, but Kiki is killing it. Okay, girl looks good. And so she's been out here promoting her work, Big Boss. Check it out. It's a great film. It's a great project. She's out here promoting her brand. She's making appearances. She's just being great. Kiki is just being great. Like let's remember y'all, last year we was having conversations about Kiki getting an Oscar for her performance in Nope. Kiki's career, her acting career is consistently is climbing. She's just the it girl. She's just I love Kiki. She's one of the few child stars of our generation that turned out pretty damn great. And has never really had any major controversy until like recently. But she's handled it so well, so gracefully, so whatever. So she dates this guy. And apparently there were red flags because that never got major attention. Like he kind of liked a lot of misogynistic, problematic things, all types of fucked up stuff. Just seemed like it'd be a dumbass. But people kind of slid that under the rug. At least she did. But interesting enough, she went to the Usher concert, which has been getting buzz. And like Usher's residency, y'all, I mean, this man is having the time of his life every single weekend, serenading all the women, married women, baby mamas, celebrities, and all. Usher is out here, Mr. Take Your Girl. Okay, he's really Mr. Take Your Girl. There was somebody else who thought they was doing that, but he was actually raping and abusing, and he was taking the girls without their consent. Trey Songz, allegedly. But Usher out here, my goodness, Libra. He's a Libra. October 14th. My birthday's October 12th. He's a Libra. Libras are cool, but we're chaos agents. We're sexy chaos agents. Libras are sexy chaos agents. Kim Kardashian, Ashanti, Maya, Toni Braxton. We're sexy chaos agents. Even Will Smith's a Libra. Lil Wayne's a Libra. Wouldn't call him sexy. Hugh Jackman. I mean, listen. Libras are sexy. Jude Law, I think. Kate Winslet. Jennifer Lopez. Libras are just... look at us. Cardi B. Sexy chaos agents. We invented coolness. Eminem's a Libra, not sexy. But again, we're cool. Everybody loves a Libra. Even when they don't want to admit they love a Libra, they love a Libra. Look at all the Libras I just named. Everybody loves a Libra. Even when they don't want to admit they do. They love it. We're cool. We're the type of people that even when you try to turn us off, you cannot turn us off because we are the culture. We literally are the A-list. Like, you can't deny a Libra. Even when you don't say you like a Libra, you've had fun with a Libra. Not everybody can have fun with Libra. Only Aquariuses and Geminis allegedly can tame us. That's why Kim and Kanye was a thing. Because, Libras and Geminis connect and Libras and Aquariuses connect. Think about that. Chaos agents. Think about it. So, anywho, the power of Usher is that this man is just always gonna be cool. He's like the dude you gonna skip you gonna risk it all for. Like he's that dude. You got Taraji P. Henson out the shows. Sweetie clearly, I don't know if she was on an edible or what she was on, but she was not prepared for Usher's power. But this is the thing, like he's just got it, he's just got that appeal. So Kiki danced with him and had a good time. She was at the Vegas residency. She had a cute little see-through number, with her booty showing out in a little mesh. And Usher was keeping it professional. If you look at Usher in the video with her, they was like, oh, Usher was all up on her, all this. Child, Usher had his arm above her waist and was very respectful and classy. And they had a good time. Celebrities with celebrities. Well, Darius Dalton did not like it, honey. The boyfriend. Well, see, I have a theory on that. He got on Twitter, said, but you a mother though. And then doubled down with some sexist ass statement about being a man and protective of his family, his wife. First of all, she's not your wife. Y'all not married. But even if she was, you don't take stake claim to her in that kind of way. What? Listen, everybody was like, "Why are you with this three bag dusty, you know, Kiki?" Kiki said nothing. First of all, Kiki follows me on Twitter, by the way. Just sidebar. She didn't respond direct. She didn't directly address him, but she just basically, took her pictures and act like business as usual. And Black Twitter and the rest of Twitter dragged Darius Dalton to the point that he basically suspended his account. Cancel culture in action, y'all. He's trash. He's trash. And what I think, honestly, is that, first of all, we never hear women, women, like the way that motherhood is weaponized by men against women is just ridiculous. We never hear a woman say to a man often, "You're a father." Like, men's fatherhood is never brought up when they're having fun. I went viral for saying this, making this point earlier this past week. Men's never get challenged. No one ever is like, "You're a father, stop doing it. You're a husband, stop doing that." When Chance the Rapper was at, Turcos and Bagos, wherever he was at, twerking on girls and stuff, his wife said something, felt some type of way, but like, she didn't go, "You're a father," but he was married and disrespecting her, and it was disgusting. But like, the internet and everybody did not shame him, even though Chance the Rapper be doing dumb shit all the time. But it's just interesting that, it's always been women, and it's not interesting. It's sexism. It's obvious that that's always been the pattern. It's like, so the truth of the matter is that, I don't respect what Darius Dalton did. Everybody can say it should have been a private conversation. No, it should have not been a conversation. Okay? It should not been a conversation. And because, for starters, what are you saying? Now, if the conversation is, "I'm feeling insecure," I don't know what to tell you, bro, because you're dating one of the most visibly attractive, successful women in the entertainment industry. She's not fucking this man. She's literally having a fun time, and it's what celebrities do. And if you don't understand what that was about, it was not about her and Usher crushing on each other. It was about what all this stuff. Like, I remember Beyonce was dating Jay-Z, and she did Naughty Girl with Usher because she knew she couldn't have Jay-Z in the videos like that. Let's be honest. She tries to bring him down, but it's like, girl. But Naughty Girl would have not been the same with Jay-Z and Beyonce. Okay, just saying. Jay-Z ain't looking like, "Oh, me and Beyonce." He just did Crazy in Love with Beyonce. And then Beyonce's up on Usher, and they was getting in that video. But she's acting. It's a moment. It's a pop cultural moment. Okay, do you think Usher and Alicia Keys was getting in my boo? No. It's maximizing the moment. It's a moment. It's nostalgia for the fans, you dickhead. It was never about her really trying to do anything. It was a moment. And you took this moment and you made it about yourself with your insecure ass. Sit the fuck down. So I kept saying to myself, everybody's like, "Well, they could have had a private conversation." The truth of the matter was, he was in his feelings. And if he really felt the way he felt, rather than use the motherhood, because the baby ain't impacted by it. It does not impact her motherhood, what she's doing. But to you, you think it impacts the relationship. So it's a relationship issue. So you have to take it up with your girlfriend, right? Here's the thing. I don't think they were together anymore. I think they stopped being together, and she went out with her girls and put on her freakum dress and had a good old time. And he couldn't take it. So that's why she probably wasn't answering his calls. She probably did not pay him any attention. So this was his way of like throwing out something to the press, trying to undermine her. And it backfired because it was divine intervention for it to backfire, you dickhead. So that happened. Other things that have taken place. I just feel like he scrubbed her off his Instagram, which confirms they're not together. Kiki did a little dance on TikTok and on social with a famous line about how if it ain't working, she gonna leave it or whatever. So it's obvious they're no longer a couple. So that's happened. He scrubbed off her IG. Lessons learned. And so I say all this to say that, for a while I used to always say, "Oh, why can't women celebrities have fun and do their thing without worrying about men and this, that, and third?" But the truth of the matter is, a lot of these men are not allowing these women to be in their full selves. I think Kiki really wanted to date a down dude, but to be honest, you really have to be with someone you're equally yoked to. You really have to be with somebody that you really care about, that you really like. You can't fake the funk. You have to be with somebody that's also in your status. It's really hard to date someone that you're not equally yoked with on so many other levels. Because when these moments happen, if the insecurities kicking in, why is there insecurities? Like, I've never understood that. Like, that's why I love, like, I'm really, like, I mean, gratitude has been the theme of this year, but has been a theme in my adulthood as I enter my 30s. Since I've been in my 30s, gratitude has just been a theme for me. Um, I look at a lot of stuff, and I think everybody just practice gratitude more in general. There's been a lot of people out here I've been seeing. I'm just like, can you be grateful for something, motherfucker? Put a smile on your face. Be grateful that you're alive. Be grateful that you actually have this opportunity, whatever opportunity, whether it's a career opportunity, academic. It's so easy to be pessimistic and bitch and get mad. I'm going in my bag, y'all, but like, it's just sometimes you just see so many people that just always is complaining about something and nitpicking. Shut the fuck up. Like, that's literally my theme for 2023. I feel like everything to just be shut the fuck up. Like take a moment and chill and be grateful. Because what's the point of working hard and doing all of these things in your life that you've wanted or you want to aspire to if you can't ever see yourself getting to that point of having that type of appreciation? Like, getting to that point where you can be able to say, wow, I really did something. I achieved something. This just made me happy. I hit a goal. I'm in this program. I'm doing this thing. Like, just gratitude is very important. And so I tell people all the time to work on that, to think about that, to really embrace that, because so often we have put ourselves in these positions where we keep moving the goalposts on what we want to achieve, which is great. It's always great to challenge yourself and never be, what's that word? Like, just super content. But you got to take a moment to smell the roses and be grateful for your progression and things. But I say all to say, because I just went on the tangent, but I think I felt it, that you want to be with people. Like, I'm happy I'm with somebody that has their own goals and achievements and career marks, that it doesn't feel like my success undermines or overshadows what they do. They have things that they achieve that they do, and we complement each other and support it. But that doesn't work if you're with somebody who doesn't know exactly what they want to do, feel like whatever you're doing is impeding upon what they're doing, and that in some way it's a competition, or it's just a situation where they feel like they're always inferior, or someone has to pay the inferior or superior backseat. I hate that dynamic. I don't think that serves anybody in any relationship. I think everybody should feel fulfilled and superior in their relationship and secure in their relationship. And I feel like whenever you start trying to put parameters and things on what people can wear and what they can do, like, and that is not necessarily disrespectful, and you're doing it based on patriarchy, that's a very weak line of argument. It's also very insecure, and it also is giving borderline potentially abusive, whether that's emotional abuse, whether that is physical abuse, but it's giving abuse. And Kiki probably saw them signs, possibly, allegedly. I don't know. I did not speak to her. I cannot confirm nor deny. Just saying that she probably recognized some of those patterns in that relationship, and that's why she's just moving on. And we'll hear from her soon, and we'll probably know more in an interview or something. But as of right now, I'm happy for her, girl. Free yourself. Free yourself, okay? Because there's no need to be in a situation like that where any man who would do something like that publicly like that, he's going to up the ante each time. So we'll see. But like, I just think Kiki probably was like, in her mind, like, I want to give this low life a chance. And this is what happens when you give a low life a chance. You get in situations where the shit get fuzzy. So, the more you live and you learn. So for this season, I'm going to try this new thing that I've been talking about for a while, but some of you all have brought it up to me. Basically, I wouldn't say it's an ask Ernest section, but basically, if you have questions for me, that is either, you want some advice on something, or you just want to ask me something that I guess maybe I haven't talked about on the podcast, or I already talked about, or, prediction and thoughts, I will entertain it. So, there was some people that I am close to, of course, in my close friend circle, that had asked, that started it off, but next week you all can do it. So the goal is, by Saturday of midnight of every week, DM me on Instagram or Twitter, because I know I have a lot of Twitter followers, like, because my DMs are open on both. DM me on Twitter or Instagram in the DMs or threads, I suppose. But it should not be a question that you post to me publicly. It should be in confidence. Like basically, I will never name who the person is who asked the question, and I will never, if there's names or things, like send me stuff that's written in a way that's like, hey, scenario. But if you can't help it, you can't help it. Like say my girlfriend, my boyfriend, whomever. But you don't have to. I won't name you. I'll just read the question and I'll give you my answer. Feel free to do that. We'll take all types of wacky doodle stories, but it's a hypothetical. It's like a question that requires an answer. So it's not just you telling me something and then being like, okay, I just want to emotionally dump on you. I'm not a therapist. Don't do that. But if you have like an actual question that is not too over the top, get to the point, lay the foundation. It could be a story. It could be whatever, whatever. So I have three questions that I've gotten, and I want to make sure I answer all three. This is clearly a super, super duper season 5, premiere. Clearly, I am, it took me some mileage before I get into everything. So I have three questions that was asked. The first question or scenario was this person messaged me. They said that recently, as they've gotten older, they've been going to dinner parties or group gatherings with friends, and they've been really annoyed with the fact that there's always splitting the bill. That it's always taking so much time to split the bill with friends. They're going with large parties, and their friends throw dinner parties. They want to throw dinner. They want to go, but they're at a point now where they're saying they're not going to birthday parties or dinner parties that the person is not throwing their birthday. So if the person is throwing a birthday and they feel like the person should, if it's their birthday, they should pay for it and they shouldn't be doing split checks. They tired of splitting checks. They think it's tacky. They say that when they have birthdays, all their birthdays, they throw them, they pay for it, they do all the things, and they invite people to go. And they think that that's where the only type of party they want to go to now. Should they feel bad for that? Like, should they feel like they're being a bad friend if they choose not to go to certain birthdays that are not, I guess, thrown by the person, which means paid by the person? Should they feel bad? Okay. The answer to my question is yes and no. I think the answer is yes and no. Which isn't, I guess I feel bad. I'll just say that I'm ambivalent. So I will say this much about the whole ordeal around friends throwing dinner parties and paying and things of that nature. I will say that it's an age thing, right? So I'm guessing this person is giving mid-30s. I don't know what kind of crew you're hanging with, because that can determine things, for sure. But what I will say is that the first thing I'll say is that everybody do birthdays differently. However, I will say that as I've gotten older, I myself has been turned off from birthdays that are like clunky, funky with all types of crazy bells and whistles. I am pretty much not doing people's birthday weeks unless they're like immediate close best friends. I don't, and even the friends I have, they don't really do like a birthday weeks. I'm not one of those people. I know people like to do birthday months and weeks. If you 5, are you 5? Are you 7? Let me stop. Because I want to answer your question. I will say, if you want to take some time for yourself and enjoy your birthday as a month where you go to things and you want to do that for you, that's how you feel, you want to celebrate your birthday, by all means, make it a thing for you, right? But at the end of the day, don't expect groups of people to co-sign a birthday month, because a lot of people have birthdays in a month. Like my birthday's in October, child. There's a lot of October birthdays, okay? I'm not going to kid you. I'm not even going to play those games. Birthday weeks, I just feel like if you want to do different things with friends and things, that's cool. I think when people try to do stuff for their birthday where they do these trips to islands and things, I feel like people want to mimic reality TV stars and they want to mimic, celebrities and shit. Let me tell you about those celebrities. A lot of times those celebrities pay for those trips for their friends. They fly their friends out. They pick a handful. They don't really bring out 30, 40 people. They bring out like maybe 4 or 5 people. And they may say, look, I want my girls to go on this girls trip with me or have fun or whatever. And they might pay for the trip. So that what they'll probably do is they'll probably be like, look, I'll pay for your flight or I'll pay for the hotel, or what I'll do is I'll pay for all the arrangements in the resort and everything, just get your plane ticket. Like, but they or a lot of times if they're celebrities, like really, really rich celebrities, they doing everything. Like it ranges, right? And so there's some people who do that. They want to be with their friends, they want to expensive, they want to have a good time, whatever. Sometimes you can get friends that are thoughtful where they throw you something and they get together and they pay for the stuff and do what they got to do and they throw you something. So, like, for example, the Lip brothers for the Jamarcus, we took Jamarcus out to Chima. We paid for whatever. He ate, drank, whatever he wanted to do. We all paid for art. We took everything. He had to worry about nothing, right? So I have friends like that where they'll take me out to dinner or they'll take me out and they'll just do something for me or brunch or whatever. I don't make it a birthday week thing, but I have people that do that, right? There's an intimacy there and it's cool. This birthday dinner party stuff you're talking about, I have to say, as a dinner pro, I want to say for nearly 15 years of my life, I've been doing birthday dinner parties and things for myself, for others, and everything in between. When I was young and I was under 21 and I was at BYOBs, y'all, it was chaos and it was always annoying because back then, we was in college. So it was like 20 people come, 30 people come to my birthday. And then we over here dealing with the check being split. And it was always somebody who wanted to say, I bought the salad and I didn't do this, I didn't do that. And that was chaos. And so we're grown now. So you are a woman. The person that asked me this question is a woman. They're in their mid 30s. I tell people, when you're at that age, okay, I don't believe in this word like say, oh, people broke. Nah. I believe that in my opinion, when you're at a certain age, I would say this is for my people that's 30 and over 30. I ain't gonna get into my 20s. I'm talking about my 30s. This is how it goes. When you are of a certain age and you are a working professional, okay, to be an adult in civil society means that you're going to go to birthdays. That means that to be an adult and to go out in social society, you're going to spend money and you're going to go out, you're going to go drink, or if you don't drink, you're going to frolic. You're going to go out and you're going to do things, right? That's just life. And so when I hear people act like things shouldn't cost or things should or should not, you have to determine that as an adult in a living society, if you're not born of money or you're not super rich or super whatever, then things cost and you have to pay for them. Now, that being said, when you're also an adult, you don't do chaos at dinners. I have a personal rule that when I go out to dinner, I do not do open-ended dining with more than 6 people. So when I go out and we're at dinner and we're eating different things, we're drinking or whatever like that, honestly, when the bill comes out, I split everything evenly. Now, if I'm with somebody that does not drink and I'm somebody who had 3 drinks, then I will be like, okay, well, clearly I'm going to make up for that because that's not fair, right? But you'll be surprised that really folks that are grown folks that know the vibe, if everybody at the table drank and you didn't drink and everybody had like 2 drinks, you might say, you know what, for this time, I'm not sweating it, right? Sometimes it changes depending on what the vibe is doing at the table. Like if you got, I don't want to say alcoholic, but a heavy drinker, you know, come on, pay the tip then, or put some money on the tip. Like the tip, because you'd be surprised. The tip amount will oftentimes, like I've been out where I'll say, let's split it evenly, but I'm going to cover the tip. So I might say, okay, that tip was, we ate out at this restaurant, it was whatever, it's $50. That was probably the cost of my 3 drinks or something. Like I'll pay the tip or whatever it is. Pay the tip then to make up for your drinking. And don't make the rest of the people pay. Now, if gratuities already factor in the bill with the liquor, then yeah, you might want to do something a little different. Put a little extra in the bill. But traditionally, when I have a table, a group of 6, first of all, I know my 6. So normally my 6 is going to drink. They're going to eat. We're going to do something. And at the end of the day, no one's counting the tab. So when I go out with the Lip brothers to a happy hour, we just put the cards on the table. We that's just how we do. No one's like, what did you spend? How much did this? We don't care because we typically on the same range of vibe, right? But if you're in your mid-30s and you're doing dinner parties and there's no prefix menus and there's no controlled billing, Houston, we have a problem. So the answer to my question is, to your question, because it's not my question, to your question, to the person who sent this to me, and for by all means, every week y'all send me DMs. This is question number 1. My answer would be, and shout out to Amanda, Dr. Parks, for telling me to do this. I normally don't do these. I mean, I never thought about it. I always wanted to do it, but it's like, she really was like, yo, you should really do it. And so this season 5, thank you for the tip. No pun intended. People really like it. Hopefully y'all like it. So my answer is simply, um, don't pay the do prefix. So if you have a friend that's throwing a party, ask them, can it be a prefix situation? Can it be a situation where, look, you rent out a room or something and y'all got an open bar and there's a prefix. You just tell everybody, look, everybody is $80 per person, or we're going out to dinner. The prefix is this. So you can control it so that when the bills come out, everybody can just pay. Or you could just do a buyout. You could do your own buyout, or adult could do a buyout, pay some money to actually lock the reservation, and then, split the tab amongst people, just tell people up front, hey, everybody give out. Like, I've done situations in the past where I would do a buyout at a restaurant. I would get a room, I would get a table, I work out a deal, or whatever for a large group of people. Because see, with large groups, restaurants love large groups if you can have it organized, right? So I was saying to them, look, I got like 40 people coming tonight. Everybody's giving the money up front. Can we work out a deal to get a prefix mean? Kind of know what the bill is. Can we work on something? These restaurants will give you special deals when you're working with large crowds, especially on a night where there's not that much business, or a night where they really want some more traffic or something. I always say, find a really nice local restaurant, a nice local restaurant that, could use some good traffic or volume for this, or use a place that's established, but maybe, some nights are slower than others. People love that, especially in the summertime when people go off to the shore and go traveling. Get you a nice restaurant and say, is there a prefix situation? Because I have a crowd, I want to control the budget or whatever. They might say, okay, yeah, we got this menu. This is a $55 prefix. This will come with a main course, appetizer, and a dessert, a 3-course, right? And then it's a BYOB dinner, maybe. Maybe you go somewhere like a BYOB and do this, so you can cut back and you tell everybody, look, it's prefix, it's 60 per person, whatever. Add the tax, let them know. Say, it's 70 per person, and bring bottles, That's an easy thing to do when people know up front what they're paying for. So when the bill comes, sometimes you get it individualized, sometimes, whatever. What I try to do, now this is a pro tip for my pros. What I would do is to lock in reservations, give a due date like a week before the dinner, and say, okay, everybody who wants to come to my birthday dinner, y'all got, to give this to me by X amount of days, right? Get all the money up front. And then what you could do is you could put it on your credit card, you could put it on your whatever, you have all the cash in hand. And then when the bill comes, and you know what the amount going to be, because you could get them to do a pre-register where they will tell you everything, the whole total. You could then just pay the bill off on your card, or pay in advance, or do whatever, and just take care of everything up front. So that when people get in, it's not financial anxiety, no whatever, no crazy stuff, nobody afraid. And if anybody want to do anything outside of what that is, they got to take care of it on their own, and they got to take care of it outside the bill, right? So they got to do that separately. But you would at least control the atmosphere where there's not too much chaos and craziness. I've done that in the past. It does take a little bit of work up front, but my whole thing is, if you want to have that many people and you want to have big scale production parties, then you have to be, and you want to charge people, you want people to spend money, which is, fair. You got to be more proactive in maintaining the civility of that, so it's not uncomfortable and it's not burdensome and it's not stressful and it's not drama, and it doesn't have someone like you or somebody feeling like they don't want to go to parties anymore. There is a solution, right? But you got to do it that way. So that's what I would say. That's my tip, my answer. Hopefully that's useful for the people who are, involved or whatever. Another question I heard, someone said, look, they read the Inquirer. It said that Curtis Jones and Kenyatta Johnson are both butting heads to be the council president, who I think will be council president. Now, I've already been talking about this for a while. People are asking me who I think is going to get it or whatever. If the front runner is between Curtis and Kenyatta, I'm going to tell you, I think it's going to be Curtis. I think I'm more close on Curtis now. Anything could change. People said, well, what about Labor? Labor likes Kenyatta Johnson. Ryan Boyer this, Ryan Boyer that. Well, if you read the Inquirer piece that came out, Ryan Boyer said, the labor boss, labor union leader of the building trades, Philadelphia Building Trades, he said he does have a dog in his race, but he mentioned that, Kenyatta and Squilla both have relationships with, they said Squilla might be a compromise candidate, which is like the person that everybody can agree on is Mark Squilla, who is there. But, with the 76ers arena situation, everything like that, I don't think he is really shooting his shot. I think this is really between Kenyatta Johnson and Curtis Jones. Those are the two front runners. Now, here's my take on it. Ryan Borsay does have a dog in the race, but mentioned Squilla and Kenyatta. Of course he did, because they're labor friendly. However, here's the reason why I think Ryan does have a dog in his race. I think, one, he doesn't want to put his hand in this. I think he can work with either one. He does have a good relationship with Curtis. Curtis is one of the few Muslim city council members. Ryan Boyer is Muslim. They both have that brotherhood together. However, the big thing for me is Sherelle Parker. Mayor Sherelle Parker has to work with the city council president. Here's why this is very interesting. Even though Kenyatta is strong with labor and big on labor, labor really backed Sherelle Parker heavily. There's a reason why Kenyatta Johnson was not upfront endorsing Sherelle upfront, because he has a relationship with State Senator Anthony Hardy Williams. And Anthony Hardy Williams has his own little, tribe of people that he mentors and he supports. Jordan Harris, who's a state senator, and also, I think, like Majority Leader Energy. You also have, Joanna McClinton, who is the House Speaker right now, currently Democratic State Rep, who's the House Speaker, McClinton. They're all under State Senator Anthony Hardy Williams' political family. As you know, Anthony Hardy Williams previously ran two back-to-back races that failed for mayor against Kenny. And as you know, Sherelle Parker's part of Northwest, and she backed Kenny heavily against Williams. So as a result of that, Williams did not really go out and endorse Sherelle, and neither did the family. So Kenyatta didn't do it, even though they were colleagues on city council. Jordan Harris, Joe McClinton, none of them publicly supported Sherelle. They didn't get in the race at all. They kind of stay out of it, which is a pretty big damn deal. So because of the fact that they stay out of it, now that she's elected, it's not like they're on the first list. Now, I'm not saying there's drama or bad blood. It's just that at the end of the day, here's the person that did show up for Sherelle, Curtis Jones. He was out there with State Rep Morgan Cephas, all in West Philly. Curtis Jones showed up and showed out for Sherelle. So even though, there might be a union may not be all in love with Curtis Jones, and he has had to be brought to the table several times to talk, he did show up for Sherelle heavily. He did. And so Ryan cannot really come into this and influence. His labor is going to have to respect those boundaries. And Sherelle, I think Sherelle prefers Curtis over Kenyatta. But honestly, both men are liked in their own regard. I have heard from people in council that even though Kenyatta was found to be, he was the charges were, he's no longer on trial. He will say he was innocent, which is his right. He wasn't, convicted of the crime. He was indicted, but the case didn't move, right? That still is a dark cloud over him a little bit. And I think people are just thinking about the other optics. So that being said, I think Curtis could pull it out. But stranger things have happened in Philadelphia politics. So that's my answer right now. And then lastly, people have said, this is the last question. This is a little bit national because we do have national listeners outside the greater Philadelphia area. Someone said, recently heard your podcast episode on your departure from NABJ. What is it looking like now? I've seen some things. There's an election coming up this week for the candidates, and want to know who you endorse, who you support. How do you feel about the race, even though you can't vote right now? Okay, so I'm going to just keep it cute and short. Personally, look, NABJ, as you all know, or don't know, but you can go back to that special edition episode. They decided that after I'm currently the president of the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists, which is an independent nonprofit. We are not affiliated with any other organizations anymore. We were affiliated with the National Association of Black Journalists, but in December of last year, we severed ties in December of 2022. That created a little bit of controversy to the other organizations, chapters around that's affiliated, that the founding institution, organization that was the first. The Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists is the first association for Black journalists in America. We were founded in 1973. We were established in 1974. So we're in our 50th anniversary, year era right now. And we predate the National Association of Black Journalists, which was established in 1975. And many of the members who created the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists were also founders and creators of the National Association of Black Journalists. So we predate this institution. Basically, over the years, we had problems with leadership, with the board, with their national board, with conversation around what makes a meaningful partnership and relationship, and based on the way that they were looking at things financially, based on how they were looking at things, organization wise and leadership wise, it just wasn't. We just realized it was not a good fit and a good purpose. So our organizations could not agree on certain things, and by nature, we were pretty much forced out because we were being forced to abide by things that we felt like violated the privacy and also the integrity of what our organization stands for. So we didn't align, and so naturally there was a break in the relationship, and they basically gave us no other choice. We was pretty much forced out the organization because they was not willing to respect or come to terms with some of the concerns that we had. So we severed ties. Months later, the National Organizations Board, which again was the same leadership that we were clashing with, really trumped up charges against me over the years, saying, that I was in violation of their code of conduct for all these years, and brought up all these municipal tweets and things I had said that were kind of conjured up without any context, without any actual true purpose, matters that were addressed and already talked about. But basically, they rounded up all this and decided to give me a 5-year suspension from the organization. So I'm banned for 5 years technically. There's a lot of different narratives and things that's been said about everything. But what I'm saying? So that was the thing that I was juggling with. For a while was just like this is wow, like they let me go. But here's the thing, I don't regret any of the things that I did because, one, it was my free speech. Second of all, the way in which they're coming at me, or they came at me, was retaliatory. That's my opinion. I feel like it was retaliatory. It's like all of a sudden when I'm no longer affiliating myself with this organization, you're now making a point to actively kick me out. Well, okay. So, I moved on. I've been working with other leadership organizations, collaborating with different people. There's going to be more of that coming very, very soon. I can't say everything now, but I've been doing some dope things. So, for example, I'm working with the Society of Professional Journalists. They're sending me out to Indianapolis in their headquarters in about 2 weeks to do some leadership training, future leadership programs to just, they wanted to do something to get me more involved and to, support what I'm doing and do that. So I'm going to be working with leaders from the Society of Professional Journalists, which they've shown me love throughout my career, doing leadership stuff with them and, seeing where that leads. I'm also really big with the Online News Association. Their convention is coming into Philadelphia later at the end of the summer, early September, early fall vibes in September. Going to be a part of that. Well, no, that's late August, actually. There's late August. Going to be a part of that. Our organization is co-sponsoring with them on programs. We're doing some dope stuff there. And then the National Association for LGBTQ plus journalists, they're having their convention in Philadelphia in early September. And I'm going to be involved in that in a very big way as well. So stay tuned for that. That's the thing, that those are the opportunities that I'm working on right now. These are the relationships that I'm working on right now. These are the partnerships I'm building elsewhere. The thing about me and what I've learned throughout my life is that you don't really resist and fight against haters that are just going to hate. Once you realize that a relationship doesn't serve you anymore, and you break from it, there's no need to invest any energy resisting. So people have felt like, well, I haven't fought against this, why I haven't done that? Well, honestly, I thought there would be allies within a national organization that was going to step up to the plate and raise issues. But it seems like, cowards are going to be cowards and people like integrity. What I will say is that it's, for me, important to, one, just continue to invest in things. I have no time to really give and energy to give too much to that institution. Because to be honest, there's been so many other people, so many other organizations that have just showered love and support on me so quickly and so fast that it's almost like, well, damn, like, maybe this is where I need to be, this is where I should be. But like, I think sometimes people want to force a thing to happen. I just think right now, the direction of the National Association of Black Journalists is just not aligning with my values, my ideas on leadership, my ideas on how to move something forward. And so I'm going to really mind the business that pays me. But I will say on these canons and these issues, honestly, I haven't said this publicly. I'm personally ambivalent to it. I'm pretty much ambivalent to a lot of the candidates. I see um, I see a lot of things that are just missing. Um, I'm very ambivalent about the candidates. I'm not going to hold you. And so, people who don't know what that word means, ambivalent means they have mixed feelings or contradictory ideas about something or someone. So, I'm ambivalent. I think that's the best way to describe how I feel about these candidates. I came in, kind of one way, but honestly, I'm ambivalent. I do. I think that, yeah, I'm going to just leave it at I'm ambivalent. Now, there is one thing that has come up during this election, and this is the thing that just got put on the ballot, and I'm personally disgusted by it. But again, I'm not surprised. So the thing that came out on the ballot is that there is a chapter 4. There's a bylaw change. Article 1, um, Chapter 4, Article 1, composition of the national membership and membership eligibility. This proposal says that membership may be terminated, suspended for malfeasance, which means misappropriation of funds, or other criminal acts and inappropriate behavior as defined by the MBJ operation procedures, code of conduct, and code of ethics. This proposal formalizes an appeal process, puts it in the Constitution, backing up what is already said in the operating procedures, code of conduct, and strengthens a board's decisions. However, they also that is the original situation. But the proposed language is suspension termination of membership. Membership shall be terminated immediately upon the death or resignation of a member, or upon the member's failure to renew dues in areas or peers of no more than 30 days. Oh, so I guess that, okay. They said membership may also be terminated if member commits acts of financial misconduct or physical violence associated with their local chapter or the national organization, or the member violates the code of conduct. Any person whose membership is terminated shall be informed in reasonable detail at least 10 days prior to the effective date of the termination by written notice sent to the mailing address and email address of the member listed on their membership application with the national office. The member can file an appeal and request to be heard by the board of directors. If an appeal is not requested, the termination of membership will not be effective until the hearing process has been completed and the board of directors has rendered a final decision. A membership can be suspended or revoked based on terms outlined in the operating procedures and code of conduct. If a membership is suspended or revoked, a subsequent board of directors cannot overturn that decision. The current language is there is no current language in the Constitution. Instead, it is in operating procedures under code of conduct. So none of it is in place. So here's the problem. This is a very loaded piece of decision making, right? Clearly, here's the nuts and bolts. They have not really established a formal process in the Constitution around removing members. I was the first member in NABJ history to be actually formally removed from the organization. Yeah, history was made. Woohoo! Well, my whole take is that the big thing is that a membership can be suspended or revoked based on terms outlined in the operating procedures and code of conduct. If a membership is suspended or revoked, a subsequent board of directors cannot overturn that decision. So it's wild to me because basically what they're saying is that these new presidents, because there's going to be a new NABJ president and board, some of these board members, that when whoever's elected, when they get elected, they cannot basically, pardon me, immediately they couldn't do it. This constitutional change requires 2/3 vote. So 2/3 of the membership of the voting body who votes on this would have to overturn this decision. If they do not get 2/3 of the vote, then therefore they will, if they don't get 2/3 of the vote, then it will not pass. So, which means that the next president who gets elected could have the ability to reverse the decision made by the previous board. And so that's in reference to me. No other member has been removed from the organization based on code of conduct or any of these things. I was the one. So they literally made an entire bylaws inspired by my departure. I just wish they would stop trying to make me fucking famous. I'm already famous, but I wish they would stop trying to make me fucking the conversation. Like, I really would like to get away from this narrative. I really would like in the words of my good Judy Taylor Swift, like, I really would like to be away from this narrative. Like, why do you just keep, like, I'm trying to move on. I am moving on from all of the bullshit, but you all are so bored and you're just consistently adding insult. Now, the $1,000,000 question is, if I was to be, brought back, if they, let's say that this doesn't pass and the next president wants to put me back in the organization, will I join? Listen, if it's to go back to the organization the way it currently is, hell no, baby. I'm done. To be honest, we're not coming back. Just keeping it 100. But if there was a situation where we could have a whole discussion about policy and changing some of this shit, and this next leader or president was willing to, change some other problematic issues at the organization, that's a different conversation. But it would never just simply be okay, we decided to take away your ban, come back, we miss you, we want to exploit you. The answer is no, I would not come back. If we're just talking come back on straight terms, no. There would have to be a conversation. There would have to be demands met. There would have to be a conversation that's not even about me, okay? It's about this organization and how problematic and toxic it's been for young people, for Black queer people like me, for professional freelance journalists. That's my take. And the stuff I'm saying right now, these were the things that allegedly I got suspended for. So, it is what it is, but I'm not pressed, to be honest. I'm not pressed. And I don't know what the outcome is going to be from the election. I don't know who's going to win. I don't know how they're going to win, but I'm not going to invest so much of my energy anymore into an institution that I invested so much in, and then eventually, took it for granted. So I'm good on that front, to keep it 100. So those are my answers to your questions for this week. Your nosy ass questions. I need y'all to give me other questions that's not about me, but I don't mind answering questions about me if you have something that you saw or heard and you want to know something about. But thank you. So moving along. Movies. So several things. One, I'm in Barbie mode, and I guess I'm Oppenheimer. I'm gonna watch that movie. Maybe. Barbie mode. It's Barbie season. Barbie's coming out in the next couple of weeks. Barbie movie is finally going to be coming here. People are getting excited. The Barbie movie is going to be having a moment. So I'm excited about Barbie. That's been my focus. I'm hearing that Drake, this is another movie. Oppenheimer's coming out. That's about the atomic bomb. It's giving Oscar bait. It's Nolan again, doing what Nolan does best, because Nolan, Christopher Nolan, Batman, all the films, he's trying to put out a big juggernaut. He's the big box office man that loves to put out the bangers. Inception, all these big films. So I'm not surprised by a lot of the attention, but for it to come out at the same time as Barbie, what a competition is going to be. So we're going to see where that goes. But no. Jermaine Dupri and Drake are apparently working on a documentary, allegedly, about Magic City, the legendary, nightclub, stripper club in Atlanta that was iconic. Anybody who was in the early 2000s, you definitely heard about it. Before there was KOD, before there was, what's the new strip club people like? I mean, what KOD? I don't know whether the strip club it was Magic City. Magic City was the ultimate strip club that was hot in the early 2000s. I remember when I was younger, there was a song called, we're going to call the song Pee Poppin', but it was by Ludacris. And, Luda was, that was Chicken and Beer album. It was on BT Uncut, and it was at Magic City. Iconic video. Very, very wild video, but a good song. It was a moment, man. Head down, bump, 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 bump. Listen, I'm not going to read the rest of the song, but it was a very fun song. I recommend you all listen. It's called Pee Popping, but you spell it with P-U. Okay, the song was called Pussy Popping. It was a very, clearly that was and that's what they was doing at Magic City. Okay, there was Pussy Popping in Magic City. Listen, it was a song. But anyway, this club was an iconic strip club, and then it closed down. Drake, who I guess loves going to strip clubs, and clearly loves Houston strip clubs. I don't know why he's not doing any Houston strip clubs. I mean, Legends, H-Town, y'all remember Club Legends? Okay, there was a lot Club Ice Age, but Legends. There's some legendary clubs over there. Philly got Delilah's and also Vanity Grand, where Cardi B was at one night years ago, and I was so hyped and I wanted to go to Vanity Grand. Couldn't go, it was too packed. But there's been some clubs. You know, every city's got some gentleman clubs and stuff. So, I remember Atlantis and University City under the Chili's, free wings. I have a crazy story, but I'm not going to tell that story today. But me and Jamarcus went with a girl we knew that we don't know anymore. Let's just put it that way. But we went to Atlantis, and what a club. They're not open anymore, by the way. But anywho, are they open? I think they're still open. The Chili's is not open. This is the one on 38th and Chestnut. Look at me promoting strip clubs. Okay. But paid sex work matters. Legal, consensual, okay? Yeah. So they're trying to make a documentary about it. I'm a little annoyed because I'm kind of like, why are we making this? Not because I don't think Magic City matters, but it's like, you guys are rappers with hella money, and you could, invest in like good projects like Michael B. Jordan does, but you're going to invest in Magic City documentary? And are y'all going to let a woman direct it? Is it going to be a black woman that's going to be able to explain and tell this story in a way that makes you all more accountable for the culture you all put in those strip clubs? But let me go off. I don't know. I feel like, and it's Jermaine Dupri too, of course, Jermaine Dupri, the one who dropped the Janet bag. I wondered to myself, like, is this a response to the Freaknik documentary? So there's a Freaknik documentary that's coming out, and I feel like, I think it's coming out on Hulu maybe, but I just feel like I feel like that Freaknik documentary, maybe they felt like they want to do something for the culture and they want to invest because they want to be able to control the narratives on the stories. We'll see. Who knows? But there was a moment. Music-wise, I've been into Taylor Swift. I know. But I will say this. I listened to Speak Now, Taylor's version. It's okay. I'm a Swiftie that came at Red. So let's be clear. Self-titled, Fearless, I wasn't crazy about. And then after that it was self-titled, it was Fearless, it was Speak Now. And then Red came. So the first 3 albums, I wasn't a Taylor Swift fan. I wasn't a Swiftie like that. Red was an important album that really converted me. And then 1989 sealed the deal, baby. After 1989, baby, every album after that I just loved. So it was interesting to go back and listen to the album. And honestly, it makes me appreciate her songwriting abilities and things because, like, I love her songwriting now. I loved Folklore, I loved Evermore. And so I go back and I listen to some of those songs, and some of those songs clearly take root with Speak Now in the Fearless era. But it's mature. It sounds different, but you can tell what she was at a certain age when she did that music. So it feels different hearing some of the lyrics. Red just was a grown ass album and a mature ass album. I feel like she found her real curve and groove with the Red album. But it's different because she's going a little bit back, and she's gonna go back to self-titled. I'm like, I don't know if she's gonna do it. So people think she's gonna re-record all her albums. I wonder if she's gonna re-record the self-titled album because I feel like that should have been like the first one out the gate. She started off with Fearless, and then she did Red, then she did Speak Now, which is interesting. But honestly, after Fearless, I would have did self-titled, then I would have did Red. And then I would have did Speak Now. I mean, Speak Now, I know that's like, I feel like she had to get that out the way. Because at this point, the only thing that's left out of because she got 6 albums she did before she was signed. So she only has to re-record her first 6 albums. So she's already done 3 albums. She has 3 albums left. So The album, this is the Scooter Braun bullshit. It's the first album was self-titled, then it was Fearless, which she won album of the year for. Then it was Speak Now. Then it was fourth album was Red. Fifth album was 1989. Sixth album was Reputation. So those are the six. So she now only has to do self-titled, 1989, and Reputation. Those are the only three albums she has to re-record off that album. Everything else, Lover, was with the new record label deal. She already owns the masters to that. So she already owns the masters to the rest of the stuff. Those were the ones she has to re-record. So she got 3 more albums left. I feel like 1989 is already done. I feel like Reputation is coming. But self-titled, I'm like, I get it. So she might still release self-titled. I hope that based on her aging, like just naturally she's in her 30s. She had an album when she was 15. It's going to sound different, I feel like. I don't know. I don't know how she's going to pull it off. She could do, I don't know. We'll see. But it was good to listen to it again. I like the songs in the vault, the bonus edition songs we never heard. She changed the lyric in one of her popular songs, talking about, she was talking about a girl who was good in bed and she felt like she was slut shaming the girl from a previous ex and whatever. So she changed that whole song lyric out. And some people feel like she shouldn't have done it. She should have kept it because it was an era of the times. But of course, she wants to grow and evolve. So it's been different relationships that's there. And I don't know. I'm mixed. I feel like re-recorded, put it in the original version. So that song is called Better Than Revenge, which was on it. So she changed it after she made that remark about a certain actress who was dating her ex and all that. Not going to name the people because that was in the past, but she changed the lyric on that song. All right, TV. Look, there's been a lot of good TV out, y'all. Bad Boys Texas, I've been loving hip hop. It's growing on me to watch it on MTV. It is very different. It's not that different. It's good. It's interesting watching on MTV. I'm so used to VH1 having everything. So it's been adjusting, but it's good drama. This Loving Hip Hop Atlanta knows how to keep it hot. They've been keeping it hot this season. Clearly, until further notice, Lil Scrappy is the bad guy this season. Okay, they always find one. And it looks like everyone's probably over Carly Red, which I also get. I get why people are over Carly Red. She's been messy for so long. And her and Spices is becoming so insufferable. I'm really kind of over Spice. She's all right. She's kind of like, okay. There's a lot going on there. But also the show that I am in love with that I really like, y'all. So while I was on my hiatus, I binged The Bear. Yes, I watched The Bear. Both seasons. I love the show. So here's the thing. Both seasons are very different, but also good. Season 1 is a great season. Okay, it's phenomenal. And I know a lot of you all probably watching like, okay, Ernest. But no, I really like the first season. But let me say this. It is very, I can see why people may not like it. This is a polarizing show. Either you love this show and you get it and you love it, or you are going to be completely annoyed with it. It's not a universal show that I think can grab everybody. It's a very cult show. It's enough of a show that people can like everybody loves everything. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't get it. I find it corny. I'm not hyper about it. But I do know people who are like crazy about that show and think it's super funny. I don't get it personally. But it's that kind of show where I feel like it's going to be a cult favorite, where there's going to be people that really like the show. It's not like an Abbott Elementary. Abbott Elementary is a comedy that universally, I don't know people who don't like Abbott. And if you don't like Abbott, you just have a sense of humor, right? But then there are shows like The Bear, where I feel like those who get it and love it, and those who don't, just don't. That's just what it is. Kind of like Love and Hip Hop. I'm joking. Not really. But that's the type of show it is. So let me start off with that. The first season is very, very intense. You really have to watch it, and you just have to just let yourself go into the show. Everybody's cursing. Everybody's high intense. You're in that kitchen. And if you walk away, you have a profound respect for the culinary culture. There's no way that you can walk out that show and not appreciate or want to tip servers and people better and respect the restaurant industry. Now, I'm someone who clearly am a food editor, so I love restaurants. I get the history. I know how much it takes to own a restaurant, to build a restaurant. And I love that the show really does take that time to educate and inform people about that industry, about the service industry. I hope it doesn't fall on deaf ears where everyone walks away like, oh, this is funny and that's it. I really hope people really do walk away understanding how much of a toll it takes and how uniquely different it is, how it's inspiring, it's refreshing, but at the same time, it's also like, holy fuck, like this is a toxic work environment, and there's no way to almost detoxify it. Like it's and some chefs have spoken out against it. Some chefs that had no business talking about it, but saying that they think that it exposes the industry in a way that could turn people off from wanting to be in the industry. But I've got a lot of friends that say they now want to cook more because of it. But I'm like, that's not the same as being a restaurant, working in a high intensive restaurant. But it's good that it's inspiring people to appreciate food culture and appreciate the industry in a different way. It's so timely. I don't want to tell the show at all, the premise. I appreciate the diversity. I appreciate the dark-skinned characters. I appreciate the love, the on-air love, the black love vibes and things that be happening. It's a good show. It's fun. It's modern. It's very today. It's very right now. There's just some good stories there. And that second season, there is an episode in season 2, episode 6. And when you watch it, you know what I'm talking about. It is the 6th episode on season 2, episode 6 of season 2. It is the best TV I've watched, episode, like individual episode, I think I've watched in 5 years. Undeniably. It's the best TV episode, like single episode of TV. Like it's just, give everybody a damn Emmy, give everybody a nomination. I mean, this is season 2. It's incredible. Just love it. Just love it on down. Why do I say all this? It's because Emmy nominations are coming up this week. Lots of Emmy nominations are coming, so it's going to be fun to see who's nominated. It's a lot of people who are hype about it. People have a lot of predictions. The nominations will be announced, on Wednesday, July 12th. A lot of people are talking about what's going to get nominated. For drama, I mean, first of all, the Emmys be having a lot of nominees. So it's like a lot of people get nominated. But here's what I think is going to happen for drama series. I really do think The White Lotus, The Crown, Succession, House of the Dragon, Yellow Jackets, The Last of Us. I could see them getting a Better Call Saul because they just love that show. Andor maybe, But clearly Succession is going to be giveaway, right? Now, Best Actor in a Drama Series, it's getting messy. I'm hearing people saying, I'm hearing people think that Brian Cox is going to get nominated in the lead category. They're saying Jeremy Strong and Kieran Culkin. People thinking all three. I definitely think Kieran Culkin is the nominee. People say Jeff Bridges, Pedro Pascal for The Last of Us, and Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul. I mean, it could be anywhere with them. I'm really feeling like I don't know if I can bank on Brian Cox being nominated. Because if it's Brian Cox, Jeremy Strong, and Kieran Culkin, they might cancel out the vote, y'all. I don't know. Who knows? Best Actress in a Drama Series, I'm banking on Sarah Snook finally being in the lead category. I can see Kerry Russell for The Diplomat. That show, y'all, The Diplomat, it's a nice little sleeper. Helen Mirren in 1923, maybe, because she's a main Hollywood star. She's on my rough list. Bella Ramsey, who's in The Last of Us, I feel like that's a good look. Melanie Leninsky for Yellow Jackets. Yellow Jackets, y'all, interesting show. Cannibalism, not my thing, but I do see them making some love. And I also can see Sharon Hogan for Bad Sisters, maybe. Maybe Bad Sisters could pull it. Maybe Bad Sisters can pull it out the bag. I don't know. It's going to be rough to predict. So we'll see. Supporting actor in a drama series, it's giving White Lotus, F. Murray Abraham, who won an Oscar many years ago before I was born. I could see Alexander Skarsgård for Succession, Matthew McFadden for Succession. Maybe Alan Ruck can pull an upset or a surprise. I think Giancarlo Esposito for Better Call Saul, John Lithgow for The Old Man. Alan Ruck, really came through. Maybe, Alan Ruck is the brother who never has really gotten a major Emmy nomination in the main one. So maybe he finally can. That's the brother that ran for president. Maybe he pulls in supporting now that, Kieran Culkin has moved in. Maybe that's happening. Maybe Matt Smith for House of the Dragons might get nominated. Supporting actress in a drama series, Jennifer Coolidge for The White Lotus. 100% believe that's going to happen. Aubrey Plaza for The White Lotus. I can see that happening. I can see Christina Ricci for Yellow Jackets. J. Smith Cameron for Succession. Elizabeth Debicki for The Crown is interesting because I thought she would be lead actress, but it looks like they want to put her in the supporting actress category. And maybe someone from Bad Sisters, maybe. As far as comedy series go, I mean, Abbott Elementary, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, The Bear, Only Murders in the Building, Ted Lasso, Barry, because it's a new season of Barry. Maybe Wednesday, maybe Poker Face, Only Murders in the Building. I think that's going to pull out. Meryl Streep came in. Maybe she'll save it. Now, Best Actor in a Comedy Series. I think Jeremy Allen White for The Bear, clearly. Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso. Steve Martin for The Only Murders in the Building. Bill Hader for Barry. Maybe Donald Glover for Atlanta. Don't think he deserves it. Think it might be the only major nomination Atlanta will get. But I can see Donald Glover going in. Now that we're not having any more Blackish cast, maybe because there's no diversity, they might stick Donald Glover in there. As far as actress in the comedy series, the lead actress, I'm thinking, Quinta Brunson, 100% for Abbott Elementary. Rachel Brosnahan for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I don't see anybody else. Maybe Natasha Lyonne for Poker Face. Maybe. Jenna Ortega, unfortunately, I'm not crazy about her. Jean Smart is not eligible this year, which means that there's an opportunity for Quinta to finally win, because Jean Smart for Hacks is not eligible this year. They came at the later end, so Hacks is not there. And she just and Jean Smart won 2 years in a row for Hacks. So Hacks is not in the conversation this year. So that means I think Quinta's finally going to get it. I hope she do. People talk about Christina Applegate and Dead to Me, but no one's really watched that show anymore. I just feel like this is Quinta's to win, y'all, and she better win this time. Now, supporting actor in a comedy, Tyler James Williams is coming back. I think he has a strong chance of winning this time around. He won the Golden Globe. That looks good. But I'm hearing about Harrison Ford might slide in for Shrinking. Eben Moss Broch for The Bear, which is, cousin. He's pretty good. Tony Shalhoub, the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. He's won previously in the past. I just feel like it's the final season, so maybe not. Henry Winkler for Barry. He's won the past. Legend. Brett Goldstein for Ted Lasso, probably. You just never know how it's going to play out. Maybe Anthony Kerrigan for Barry as well. I'm really feeling like this is Tyler James Williams' opportunity, but Harrison Ford might slide in there for Shrinking. We never know. Now, Best Supporting Actress this year is about to be really interesting. Ayo Ibariri for The Bear. I love her, an incredible Black actress. I can definitely see her coming in there. She could even pull an upset and win. But I feel like the second season, she's stronger, and I feel like she should get nominated second season. But the first season, she was great. The last 2 episodes, she just really came out of her. She blew it up. Janelle James, Abbott Elementary. She should be the front runner. I really want her to win. Don't know. But she really shined this season. You got Shirley Ralph. She won already. It's obviously that there's going to be lots of love. I also think that because Hacks is not at play now, Lisa Ann Walter from Abbott Elementary, I think the white cast member, she will be the white cast member to win. Or not win, but to be nominated this year. It's her time. Her dynamic with Barbara on the show, sharing her, they killed it together. But Janelle James, I really want her to win. But you got Alex Borstein coming back, and she's the previous winner for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And then you got, I think maybe... Hannah Waddingham, she won the past for Ted Lasso. They might bring her back, but I feel like Ted Lasso is done. I really want them to get over it. This season sucked. Season 3 was not really that good. And I mean, this is it for them. So I just really feel like it was like a grand opening, grand closing. They swept a little bit last year, 2 years in a row. I feel like everybody's over that. It's time to move on. It was a pandemic moment. But I think I hope Abbott wins. But with all them cast members, it's going to be harder, right? But those are the main predictions I have. We'll find out later this upcoming week. But, it's the Emmys. So coming up next, of course, is, a lot of stuff is going on in my life. Lots of stuff I have to keep on a lock until further notice. So maybe, the week from now or next. But what I do want to say is that Beyonce concert, we're in full anticipation for B-Day, for this upcoming Wednesday. Just stay tuned on what we're wearing, how we're coming through, how we're showing up. The Lip Brothers is going to take us to the next level. History will be made. It's going to be epic. So, this is everything. So we're looking forward to Beyonce concert. Renaissance. So, looking forward to everything. This is season 5, super long episode, but y'all miss me. I had to catch up on everything, but thank you all for tuning in. Always send me your questions and your thoughts. I am on Threads now at Mr. Ernest Owens on Threads. And check me out on, of course, Twitter and Instagram and everything else. And as always, be well and be best. Earnestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Earnestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.